other.
Because I'm not rezoning it. And that's what this is.
Well, that's good, because it'll trickle down the mall.
Proposal rezoning.
I hope not. But you miss out a lot when you read that.
We found out I didn't have to rezone it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be all right.
I'll soon. That's what I got on now, but it's getting pretty bad. I've had it, the vaccine is my shape, but it wouldn't be good even then. Judy's son had the shot and everything in 10 days. He was Pfizer. He had Pfizer shot. Oh, yeah. But he got it.
My wife said, did they do that on purpose? I said, I don't know.
Well, you can see you good on that camera though up there.
Yeah, camera's up above, so it shows us.
That
Oh,
was,
wait, I've got,
Wiggins.
let me bring in names and I've got.
Let me get this out of your way.
You always had that. Yeah. For money. Yeah, I had me too. Yeah. Martin got stressed just a lot before.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, if I come out there now, you really ain't gonna know you get that. Yeah. But it's like borrowing money yourself, you know, it's taking before you pay it back. Yeah. But you know, if you pay that gift.
Please enter your access code followed by the pound.
That being completely split.
What bean? Really?
What?
The beam is completely split in half.
It's not complete, it's just
There's more
part of
than
it.
a quarter inch here,
Yeah.
all the way down, and another.
To enable
split
audio
here.
controls, please enter your audio PIN followed by the pound or hash sign. If you do not have a PIN, just press pound.
It's got character.
And this one.
Okay, it should be on.
Should be on.
Yeah, let me get my.
I'd have known you'd notice. I'd have
Okay.
known you would notice.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Conley Bass. It's been properly noticed that there would be a city council workshop at 5 p.m. on August 26, 2021. And citizens are encouraged to follow the COVID-19 safety measures provided by CDC guidelines. This meeting is open to the public. However, those that would prefer to join remotely can do so by dialing 1-646-749-3335. Access code 570-368-173. And these meetings that we're having are also available to watch on YouTube. And please, if you're listening in, please mute your phones and computers to avoid any interference during the meeting. It's now 5:03 and this workshop is now in session. On the workshop agenda, council will discuss all items on the agenda as time provides. And then review formats for city council performance review. Please mute your phone, please. You're interfering with us, please mute your phone. Thank you. Review formats for city council performance review with city administrator and set date and time for review. Review format for city administrator performance reviews with city staff and set desired completion dates. City administrators update the city council and discuss concerns. I don't really understand any of that, but the mayor no longer has control over the agenda, so I get this when everybody else does. So who put this on here? Did somebody?
Yeah.
Oh, you put it on here? Oh, okay. You wanna?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
give y'all a couple of handouts. And,
Thank you, sir.
and this is not on the agenda to be voted on, so, it's just for discussion here in the workshop.
Okay. Thank you.
what I'm proposing, I do have, Pam, a set, if you'd like to look on. Sonia's gonna call me.
Yes. Be on the phone.
Actually, we already have all this, we just, I guess, haven't been using it or something.
No, I don't.
This is for all, we use this for the employees
Yes,
once a year, like we
Yes, sir.
always do.
yes, sir. Sonia's on the phone, so maybe before she gets out of here, maybe you talk.
I'll, if Sonia is listening in, I mean, she's
Yes,
welcome.
sir, I'm here.
Okay, she's welcome to join in anything I'm saying. But, what I've got here are, and what I'm proposing, I guess, broad brush, is that, we've not, and I did ask Sonia this, Sonia has never had, a performance review since she's been employed here. And I did gather from talking with her that she would be 100% in support of this. And so what I say, I guess 100%, but she can speak for herself on that. What I've given you here are just a couple of samples of how councils do this. And the one, there's one there that I pulled off the line is from North Carolina, but it addresses a lot of the performance areas that Sonia's job entails. Then the one that just says city manager performance evaluation, I also pulled this one offline, but did see, also saw on the City of Belton uses this exact performance review format. And the one I did give Sonia does have a copy of this one here that just says city manager performance evaluation. So when you study these, the way that the review is handled is that it's done in an executive session, and it is with city council and mayor and the city administrator. And so the way that I would propose that we do this, if you just go to the first page of any one of them and take the first question, and you can see how it directs you, the council member or the mayor, to score the individual on the individual points that they make. For instance, the numbers are 1 through 5 on the one that is the same one that the city of Belton uses. And first line, diligent and thorough in discharge of duties, self-starter. So each of us would score Sonia, our city administrator, to whatever degree we felt she performed that duty. And so each of us individually would go through these questions and score each point as it instructs you to do. So we individually, as council members, each one would do this. And then I would propose, in the way that I've seen it done in other places, in just businesses, is that the individual that's being reviewed, she scores herself. And so what you have there is when you do get together, then she's got herself rated on these different areas of her job, how she does, how she feels she does. And then we would also have the same score and the same item scored, and you compare your scores. And then you discuss, why you scored her like you did, and she has the same opportunity. And so really, when you boil these formats down, what a performance review, in my opinion, should be, it should be an opportunity for there to be a fair, honest exchange of information back and forth. And you have an opportunity to learn what what the person you're reviewing feels about their job, what they feel like their challenges are, what they feel like their successes are. And you just sit down and you have a conversation, is what it boils down to. And so, either one of these, I think, would be a good format for us to follow. I will point out that these say city manager, and we have a city administrator, not a city manager. So the one that I would recommend, and the one that I like the best, that I think is the easiest and simplest, is the one that this Lexington, North Carolina, has. And, it has the same, rating system, and then it also has comments, spaces where you can make general comments
Under each one.
under each one.
I like that.
So, the idea or the suggestion that I have to council, and, if they're in agreement, would be that we take this North Carolina example of one, and then we customize it, for instance, where it talks about the city of Lexington. In the narrative, we would be talking about the city of Bruceville-Eddy, and we'd be talking about the city administrator and not the city manager. And so I'm just a proponent, and a big, believer in having this exchange with an employee.
Mhm.
And it's an opportunity for everybody to just get it all out on the table and, come out of there, and everybody knows where they stand, everybody knows how, they've had an opportunity to communicate. And I believe that we can do this in a professional and calm and respectful manner, and I think we ought to be doing it every year. So, we should have these. I'm hoping that we can get this done, and the council would agree with it, that we could get this done during the month of September, before the end of the year, business year. And then likewise, and again, I believe Sonia is, she already has reviews, or she may have her own format or whatever, but I would, likewise, hope that we could do each of her, that she could do each of her employees. Now, I'm not suggesting that Ms. Bishop use this format for her employees. She may have her own system, but the other thing that you have, when this is done correctly, is that you have documentation of everything. And it's, I did see where, one city, matter of fact, I think the city of Waco, they don't have a formal format like this. They just have a executive session, and they go in and they just conduct a review, and then somebody writes up a summary of what was discussed at the review. But I believe that if you formalize it, then, it's easy to stay on course in terms of the conversation and the things that you're talking about. So, Sonia, do you have anything you wanted to comment about?
Sonia?
I just wanted to say, yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's a good idea, and I'm not sure if I have the one that you're proposing, but I'm not even opposed to actually using that one for the employees of the city. The one I have is very long and kind of drug out, but it was one the city had before I got there. So I would like to look at the one you're proposing and, possibly use that one for the employees that I had to do their evaluation.
Okay. Oh,
Just a minute.
okay.
No, he's not through.
Oh,
I'm telling you, he's not through. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to get other, input from everybody.
Okay.
What they think about
Are
it.
you through now? Or?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this, before Mr. Wiggins starts. when I was on the council before, we did this every year. And this is almost identical to what we did. It may be a little different, but
Yeah.
we did this, mostly to determine if the employee was performing satisfactory and was happy, and also if they deserved a raise or whatever. And I think this is almost identical to what the police department is now using. But somewhere down the line, that practice will stop, but we did this every year. Now I don't recall doing one on the administrator. Of course, that's before Sonia came. This is very good, and we can use this, as far as I'm concerned, it's very good, but the city has done this in the past. It just somehow or another kind of fell to the wayside, as far as I know. Mr. Wiggins, I believe you were next.
Okay, thank you. I would like to say that it is in Sonia's contract, her agreement,
Mm-hmm.
under section 11, and just for Sonia's behalf, I'm gonna read part of this. It says, "The council shall review the administrator's," it says annual review. "Council shall review the administrator's job performance at least once annually during the budget process. The annual performance reviews and evaluations shall be in writing in accordance with criteria and format developed jointly by the council and the administrator." So we have to make sure that this is what we want and this is what Sonia wants, according to her, agreement. And then it says the council shall provide the administrator reasonable and adequate opportunity to discuss with the council and or respond to the administrator's evaluation. And then it goes on to talk about that, you know, evaluation shall at all times be conducted in closed session, unless she requests otherwise in writing. So anyway, I just want to point that out, that is part of her
Yes.
agreement, and she does have a right to come in here and say, well, no, I don't like that one, let's go with this one, and we all agree upon it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I
All
want
right.
to point out.
Mr. Talbot?
I like both of these. I sort of like the one that Mark likes, the other one at first I did, but it's, to me, it doesn't give you enough latitude, and it can get into where it gets more personal, and I won't do that, but you gotta be honest and open, and, I like what he said. This is, to me, this is a must to help the employees and the council know what's going on. And it's like, looking at, raises, or merit raises, or COLA, I think it all ties in together. So I'm 100% in support of it. If other council are, or is, and Mrs. Bishop is, then, I'm in favor of it. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Anybody else got anything, comments?
I do.
Mavis? I knew you would.
No, I did. And I sent you this, recently, and I'm reviewing this. Yes, she's not a manager, and there's some things in here that are required of a manager that should not be required of Sonia. Okay, so this could be a little tough on Sonia when you go to the review. And we're gonna have a new mayor coming up. Regardless, we're gonna have a new one. And they also need to understand the powers and duties of the mayor. The mayor is the chief financial officer. So when it says she's to prepare the budget correctly and this, that, and the other, no, that is on the mayor. That administrator assists in getting that budget done, and our financial officer, which is, Esther, I think. But when we review her, if the finances are wrong or whatever,
Sonia has to agree to which format would go by. So I would think that maybe, being Mark brought this, I would think it'd be a good idea, maybe Mark, I'm okay with Mark to sit down with Sonia and they come to an agreement, consensus on which one of these formats, maybe take a piece out of this one and a piece out of that one, I don't know. But the mayor said they used to have them, they used to do it, so I don't even have.
I think that's what.
As long as Sonia agrees to it in which format, I'm good.
I think Sonia's got the one that you use here, I think that's what she said, I may have misunderstood, she's pretty long. So,
Mayor, may I speak?
Yes,
that's what it needs to do,
yes.
come together.
Go ahead.
This is Sonia again, obviously. I would like to ask council to consider to let me and either two council members to sit down and look at the forms together and to discuss the pros and cons of each form. I would like to request Ms. Linda Owens and maybe Mr. Fowler, or whoever, I don't care. Whoever y'all pick is fine. But I would like the opportunity to look at the forms, but I absolutely am in agreement that there should be a review, because the only way I'm gonna learn where I'm making mistakes at, or your expectations of me, is by having an annual review. So I am definitely on board with it, and I would like the opportunity to look at the forms. Obviously, I'm out this afternoon, but maybe either tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday or something, two of us, a few of us get together and decide which form would be best, and I would like to also use that same form for the employees, whichever form we choose.
Is that all right with everybody?
Yeah.
I'll be glad to work with Linda on it.
Okay. Y'all can get together and set a time and meet?
Sure.
I don't think we need a motion.
Okay, all right. Is that,
Yeah, we don't need.
is anything else on you?
No, sir. I think that pretty much covered that.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes,
And
maybe.
one final thing, I understand that y'all had her sign a contract when she was hired, but there is an ordinance out there that simplifies what we expect, you expect as a council, we expect as citizens of the administrator, her job, and I think sometimes we're getting outside of those lines. We are expecting her to get the budget right, or get this done, or get that, and that is not in our administrator ordinance, so that needs to be pulled up. That's all.
You're correct.
And we're not overloading her with expectations.
That's right,
Thank
Tony.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else got anything to say about this? Mark, is that pretty well satisfy you?
Yes, I think we've got it
Oh.
underway
Okay.
now, so I think we're
Okay,
good.
good. Okay, is there anything else on the agenda that anybody'd like to discuss or bring up? Yes.
Okay, here on the public hearing, number 2,
Okay,
okay, I was asking for it to be rezoned, but I don't have to have it rezoned, so that really should not have
well,
any,
we can't have a public hearing tonight anyhow.
but,
Any of these public hearings, we cannot have
yeah,
them.
2, 3, 4, 5, yeah.
Why is that, Mr. Mayor? I don't-
Because, when you have a public hearing, it has to be published in the paper 10 days before the public hearing. And when they submitted, our staff, Pam, or whoever submitted it,
Yeah,
to the
they give you
paper,
10 days.
newspaper, they made a mistake and didn't actually publish it for 3 or 4 days. And there is no, we cannot have we'll have to postpone all of these public hearings to a later date, by law. It's not me that's canceling them. Make that clear.
That's so great.
Okay. Yes, Pam?
Dan Platts called earlier and wanted to know if it could be moved up on the agenda.
Who?
Tonight, Dan Platts,
What's he on?
he's the lawyer, well,
That paper
Okay,
Just a minute, what number?
17.
yeah, he was
Mr. Mayor.
he's coming tonight and he was gonna speak, but he wanted to be moved up so he could get home earlier.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, we can do that.
But anyway, I'm also on number 11 also for discuss and consider the rezoning. So,
Well, since we don't have the public hearing.
we
I
can't
don't
do
think-
that anyway, so just mark that off
Right.
also. So 10, 11, 12, 13,
Yeah,
and 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay,
Yeah,
that's all,
just-
okay,
at least half of the, or more, we can't even have
Okay.
tonight.
That'll
Mr.
work.
Mayor,
Yes,
can we review the items and let Pam just go through what we're gonna table or not do tonight?
yeah, I can tell you, it's number 2, 3, 4, 5.
10, 11.
Yeah, 10, we
12,
can't do
13.
10, you have to
11,
have a
12,
public
13.
hearing. 10,
And 13.
and how,
But
let's
you
see,
can't talk about them in the public hearings, you been talking about them here. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can't do 12 either,
That's what I said.
or 13.
R13, and there might be another one on here, but, right, when we come to it, we'll cover it.
We're moving him up.
And it's not our fault we're not having the public hearings, and I hope people don't complain about it. It's the newspaper's fault. I've tried to call that newspaper,
Newspaper
Uh,
can get it in there? I'm sorry.
I just already said that, Judge.
Well, I didn't understand, I thought maybe that we
The
made a
newspaper, they sent it in, the newspaper didn't get around
mistake.
to
I
putting
didn't
it
get
in.
that, Mr. Mayor, I'm
Well,
sorry.
okay.
Newspaper.
Yeah.
Or whatever I was saying, never mind. Okay,
Mayor,
yes. Sonia? Yes.
I just want to remind the council that in order to have those public hearings at the next meeting, we have to run the ads on Friday.
That's
So we
tomorrow.
have to resubmit all those ads on Friday, right, tomorrow.
In the paper.
Wait a minute, when is our next meeting? It's in 2 weeks, isn't it?
September the 9th.
Twelve.
September the 9th.
The 9th?
Nine?
My birthday.
Really? My son was born in
Spend it.
September.
Okay.
Whose birthday?
Do y'all wanna
September the 9th.
just agree to have the public hearing at the next possible meeting that we have? Well, depending on the newspaper.
Yeah,
I tried to call them for 3 days and no one would answer, they wouldn't call back. And finally, I think the 4th day I called, they finally
Well, that's not
answered.
our fault, sir.
No, it's not, and,
That's what I wanted to make
yeah.
sure.
yeah, no, it's not
no,
us.
it's not our fault at all, and it's not the staff's fault. It's not Pam's fault, not Sonia's fault.
Nobody's fault in Bruceville-Eddy, we'll put it that way.
Yeah. Blame the Waco Tribune Herald.
Yeah.
They're like everybody else, they don't have any staff anymore.
It's getting worse with this COVID stuff.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I did have a question.
All right.
Is it okay to ask a question about any of these that,
Yeah, it's just a workshop.
yeah,
I mean,
so, there was a letter, and I just wanna be sure, that date-wise we're okay on deadlines. There was a letter that was written by Randy Riggs and to us, and in the first paragraph in the letter, he says, our office has compiled with the calculation and publication requirement. Enclosed, you will find a copy of your unit's 2021 rate calculations as published in the Waco Tribune Herald.
That's all.
So, were they in there?
Yes,
Does anybody know that? Okay,
On the 9th.
I saw it.
think.
okay,
I
but
think.
somebody called me and ripped my tape.
okay. And so then, at the end of his letter, he says, please have the members of your governing body sign below and return to our office by August 31st, 2021, but not later than September 1st, 2021. So,
That's
I
the
mean,
next day.
based on what he's saying here, is that a requested date, or is that a, you know,
Timeline.
a formal, I'm just saying, that if we wait till the 9th, are we breaching some requirement? But do y'all understand what I'm
I
saying?
Yeah.
understand what you're saying.
that's a very good question. Very good. Yes,
We should have, they already signed it, sent it in.
When you put something in the newspaper, okay, ready by the
mechanics,
eighteenth, well, this isn't
they had this
September
guy,
eighteenth,
not
number one.
they
But when
was
it
trying
goes
to
in
get
on the
something out of his
19th, you
lip right
cannot
here.
have that
They
public
said it
hearing
was
for
a
10 days.
microscopic
So today's
worm.
the 8th day, so that public hearing can't
Said,
happen.
do
Say
not,
the
do
public
not
hearing
open
did
the
happen
can
on the
unless you
10th
wash
day,
it first.
you have
You
so
know,
many
that
days, and
microscopic
that
worm
falls
was
on the
that long
29th or
now.
30th of
It
August.
been big.
If today had been the 10th day, we would have had to follow a
I
time,
understand that.
but we're not
Yeah.
gonna do it.
That's not what I'm saying.
Mayor,
Yes,
What do you think?
yes. Sonia,
so what that date is if we would have had the meetings tonight, and if we would have passed everything tonight, he would want that in his office by that date. But since we have to prolong it because of the newspaper, I'm gonna email him first thing in the morning and tell him that we had to postpone it until the 9th of September. And what he'll do is he'll give us a new letter and give us a new date.
okay.
But we'll be okay as long as we do it at the next meeting.
So he's the one setting the date, not the state or
On,
not.
on the ordinances that we've created, the ordinances refer to the 26th day of August. On the water fund and the general fund, the ordinance refers to.
Right, we'll have to change that.
Okay, I was just pointing out, we need to be sure to change that. So, that was all, I was just
Yeah, we're
making
gonna
sure,
on that.
we were in the doghouse.
It's in the bid.
Yes, sir. I understand 100%. Yeah, good question, and you have,
Yeah, good
you're on
question.
track. You're good.
Got you on the back.
Yeah. Don't worry, something about it.
Okay.
Is that okay, sir?
Okay, maybe next time we'll try to get it done a little early in case something blows up with the newspaper, we'll still be on time. Unless they have a beginning date as well as a stopping date. Yes,
Ask you something,
yes.
'cause I don't know the answer.
Well, I probably don't
Well, you
either.
might.
Ask it.
Hey, you're the CEO, you're supposed to know.
Well, yeah,
That there was stuff here that was gonna be talked about tonight,
okay.
under the budget and the different things. And I felt like, not on the public hearing, but when it gets on the regular agenda for us. I could talk it now here in the workshop, none of that's listed there. It's what it is, I guess, council discuss all out of the agenda. So
Yes.
if I had something, let's say, under, and I'm asking all of it, under the water budget, and I talked to that issue.
Well, let's see, there's a water
No,
regime.
it's on there, but it's listed up here under the workshop, council discuss all items on the agenda. Now, we can't do anything about it, but it's still listed. That's one we can't talk about. 13.
I mean, what you wanna talk about the water,
I just wanna talk about the budget and that it, possibly the water committee and other things that we've talked about prior, I need to get it in there. Even though we're not gonna vote on it, I just wanna make the council
Yeah.
aware. And I have made,
well, I don't see anything, there's usually a water report on here. Where is it?
under the budget and the water thing here that we can't.
Well, is it a budget item?
Yeah.
Well, I don't see why you put it
You
on
can
there.
discuss a budget, anything about the water budget you can.
Because we
Well,
had it
yeah.
on the agenda.
But
about
see,
approving
I know that, but what I'm asking about, I don't know it all, just what I know, that's all. So I'm asking.
Well, I'll
So
just
I don't
say-
wanna get nobody in trouble.
Well, I'll say this, be careful what you say, but if you wanna discuss it, I, as the mayor, will allow it. And if anybody gets in trouble, they
Hey,
can blame
no,
them.
I don't want nobody to get in trouble.
Well, I mean,
I
if
wanna
we,
do what's
we
right
don't
for
wanna
business.
break the law, you
No,
know.
sir, best I can, that's the reason I
That's-
asked.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Then-
go ahead, and if
Now,
you
the
get,
water committee had recommendations for the budget. I'd said something about it, to the budget committee, and all of us was overwhelmed, including them, so it didn't happen, and that's okay, but, they talked to Gene, that's okay too. But we've discussed what I'm gonna discuss here in the open council more than once, under different items from Mr. Tabor and the council. The water committee, and what y'all talked about, I want to put it in the budget just in case, or present it to put it in the budget, let's put it that way. The water committee recommends it. Mr. Griffin's, privy to this, and y'all are too, we talked about it before, is put some capital expenditures in there, just in case, and then we'll talk about it, or we talk about it in open discussion here, we got to put this line in out there for Ross County. Period. We get in compliance and all of that, so I'm gonna talk about it. supposed to put in there, probably padded a little, we don't use a nickel, that's okay. But it saves the issue by amending the budget. I'm talking about probably $600,000 to do the line. Just to the proposed site to where future time, right past it, improve the line. And this coming budget year, that will solve several issues for this city. What's done is done, and then it make no difference to me, but, we all took it. Hoping we're doing the best we can. So, I feel like I'm telling you that here, but I sure didn't want to be out of line, put something here, it'd be called trouble. But, before the budget was finalized, I wanted to present that to you councilmen, and, to speak up. Is that
Yeah.
not what we agreed on, Mr. Griffin?
Yes, sir.
And the mayor did too, and he said, I think we'd handle it now. Even if you don't want to, and I won't borrow no money, I borrow enough of my time. As long as you take it and make money, that's okay, but just to borrow it, get something done is not a good reason, but, we'll have to see like we did with this paying back money or using the money with sewer, and that's been a huge drawback for a long time. And I got it. Got it then, got it now, I understand it. But if, funds get tight, Mr. Thurman asked me if what, did the CDC come? He asked me, was on something else, main investments. And I said, here's what we're proposing, somehow, some way, we hope, got a commitment for some land, and I'm gonna tell you what he said, and this pertains to this. Y'all need to do whatever you gotta do, because it's gonna grow, and it's gonna come, but without the water and the sewer, it ain't gonna happen. Now, I'm passing the word along, but he committed his bank to do whatever he can to help us, period. And I think that's huge, he always has, and he always will, and he's unbiased. And he brought it out to me, I didn't bring it first, he asked me what was that plan for. So I told him, so, Mr. Mayor, I appreciate you allowing to say that, because that's a huge load off of me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, of course, we have kind of put the water, like you said, on hold, because we're concentrating on the
I know this.
center, but whether sewer comes to the city or not, that is not even in the city council, and that's our water system, and
Yes.
we've got to comply and keep it up,
Yes,
whether we get the sewer or not.
that's correct.
So-
If you get it, you can't flush it.
Right, that's true.
So without the
So-
water, it ain't coming.
Right, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr.
Yes, I mean, just as a, broad, response, there's not $600,000 to do a water line. But you got, in the water unrestricted fund balance, you got over $2 million.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all I'm saying, I mean, the operational budget, there's not $600,000 in there.
No, sir.
And that's what we're approving, is the operational budget, or that's what
Okay.
we're proposing.
Mhm.
But I mean,
But it was that even, can I interrupt you a second?
well, if I finish, just
Okay,
saying,
okay.
I feel like that needs to be brought to council, and, and I don't think you can ballpark $600,000.
No.
I think you need a figure that is, some kind of a realistic, not saying 600,000 is not,
Or, yeah.
but I think you need a good figure, but I would say that the procedure would be you bring it to council, you've got your proposed budget, and, or is the council willing to, take this unrestricted fund balance, some of it, and help do it, and then,
Yeah.
but I will also say that in this year's operational budget, there is gonna be recapture funds that are over our, revenues minus, we're gonna have leftover dollars. And so the unrestricted, general fund balance and the unrestricted fund balance are both gonna get a hit when the end of the budget year comes. There's gonna be leftover funds. So that's just a broad answer,
I
but
can't answer your question.
I don't have a question.
No, what a statement. I can answer your statement. I really didn't want to bring
Mayor,
it.
may I speak?
Just a second, please, ma'am.
Just a minute, and she may have something important.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I do too.
go ahead, Sonia.
I just wanted to remind council that, there was a deposit made into our account of $220,000. And those funds can be used for water upgrades if the council chooses to.
I know.
And then next
I know.
August, we'll also get another 220.
I knew.
Okay, thank you. Go
I knew
ahead.
that, sir.
I didn't
But
mean
what-
to interrupt you.
That's okay, that's all right,
Go
'cause
ahead.
she may have to get away or something, that's
Yeah.
all right, perfectly
Mhm.
all right, sir. So that addressed another issue there, Mr. Fowler, and I didn't want to get it, but you're not wrong, it's okay. In that note, when I was dealing with Mr. Thurman, on exactly what you're talking about. Investments in the money, restricted, not restricted. What this money is restricted for, basically, is to pay the bonds. Interest and sinking fund. It's handled different than the reserve. The reserve was created when each bond was floated. And a certain percentage of that bond, which is pretty small, had to be put in a reserve fund to make a payment on the bond if the city went kaput and didn't pay it. I never wanted to move into the sinking fund. I'm gonna tell you why. Because they take the money out of checking account each month and put it in that fund. Now, that's a huge more burden for Esther and Miss Betsy. Even though, I'm gonna tell you, we can move it legally. Interest and sinking fund and the reserve fund, as long as we don't spend it on operation. You can move it and invest it under state law, and I got a letter, I wasn't gonna bring this up, it's gonna be another councilman. But Mr. Thurman said, yes, you can move it, it's your money. But he read the bond just like I did. Now, what it says restricted, so the auditors and Mr. Flex, and he wrote, it's restricted in the basis of the bank's money is guaranteed the water system revenues. That's what they look to. So that solves another question, but you can take it and do what you want, but you can't spend the reserve and then sinking fund money on expense, but you move it to New York City as long as it's in there and identified. And I have a letter so stating that, but that was gonna be another thing. Since you brought it in, wait, you brought it up, not me?
He brought up about 600.
No, he brought up restricted money and the free money.
No, he was talking about 600,000.
I know what
and
he,
then,
I know, Mr. Wig, but he also brought up about restricted money and unrestricted money, so that's all I had to say, I appreciate it, thank you very much.
It takes a lot of discussion on how you do it.
Yes.
I would be, I'd be.
Yeah, this will
Well, I
be for
know
a
that.
future meeting,
I
you know.
just put it out
Yeah.
there, just not to go in long detail, but to put it on your mind, and, only reason I said that about the budget, because we dealt with this before, when we had to do water well, repairs, and the money wasn't there. So in an emergency situation, you do it, but this is not an emergency, so I'm just trying to head off a problem, that's all. And if I was wrong, I apologize.
I just was.
I know it's okay, I don't disagree with you. Thank you very much for hearing my say.
Okay,
Appreciate it,
thank
Mr.
you,
Mayor.
yes. Thank you.
And Sonia was in support of this too, by the way. I'm not speaking for her, that's what she said in the water committee meetings, and, she can speak for herself, that's not so, but that's what she said here, and also in the public council meeting.
All right, thank you. Anybody got anything else they wanna talk about?
Not me.
Next, city administrator's update. The city council discussed concerns. Do you have anything to update us with, on that TCEQ, Sonia?
On the TCEQ thing, I talked to Mr. Haubenstein,
Right.
I spoke with him, and he told me that he cannot advise us on how to resolve the issue. He can only tell us we have to resolve the issue. That what we do is gonna be up to us, but we have to take care of the problem. So what I'm thinking about doing is I'm gonna
That's what I want to talk about.
talk to Jay
Let
Stewart
me see here.
and see if possibly Jay Stewart and his father-in-law, Mr. Kellogg,
Oh,
and I can have a meeting and sit down and talk and see if Mr. Kellogg will consider giving us a temporary easement just long enough to fix that line. So I'm gonna reach out to Jay in the morning and see if he can set up kind of a meeting. And hopefully be able to resolve it, but that's what TCEQ's response to me was. Mr. Ludicky did tell me that he had a meeting, scheduled with Mr. Talbert, and I don't know if they've had that meeting already or not, but he did tell me that he had an upcoming meeting with Mr. Talbert.
Okay, thank you, Sonia. I think Mr. Talbert, had something to say about that. Do you?
Yes.
Go
So
ahead.
that's what me and you
Yeah,
talked about
all right.
before the meeting.
All right, go ahead.
You set up a meeting anyway.
Yeah, we'll set up a
Glad
meeting.
you brought it up, Sonia, but there's some things that, I can't speak to here in public, to protect the city and to protect Mr. Killo and Mr. Stewart. You come up with ideas that I put in the mayor's hands before the meeting and, to talk with you, but we both forgot you weren't gonna be here. But, this is, huge. The hammer's gonna fall. Yes, ma'am, I did, and I sent you an email and asked for that text message, and you've been so busy, I guess you forgot, and I told you I had the meeting at 1 o'clock, texted you, emailed you Saturday, you responded Sunday, and I asked you again Monday. I got that text message somewhere, but I couldn't find it, and then you finally responded, and I was almost through the meeting at 3 o'clock, but that's okay, no problem, no harm, no foul. But yes, the hammer's gonna fall for TCEQ. They've been more patient than I would have been, 5 months. Now, the only reason I said way back there to appeal it, and I got fussed at pretty hard by Mr. Stewart, and I understand 100%. I was always felt for them. That's sort of kind of not good to not have a meter, and that was a lot of money. But I thought about it. If that's gonna be the home and home site, then that's their business. But yes, ma'am, the TCQ was sort of kind of upset and impatient. And I also dealt with Mr. Luke, he didn't attend. Something happened with Mr. Hopkins I've dealt with, just a super nice man, but I dealt with the head man over water policy and enforcement. Great meeting, an hour. And what it come down to, they believed me and I told them the whole story. But what they did, they said, we don't have anything, official response, except the ones that I know you seen it, but I don't know what it was, and that was back in April. I did see the certified receipt. But in July, you said you talked to them on the phone. And all they wanna know is this: what are we gonna do to solve the problem? And we can't solve it unless we can know what's going on and never was opposed to fixing what it was. But you can't fix what you can't see. But I understand why they were mildly upset. I would have been too. A failure to communicate don't get nothing done. But what's gonna happen is they're gonna start finding us. And they're gonna find you, and they're gonna find you. So what will happen if we can't come to an understanding with Mr. Kilo and Mr. Stewart, and I would love him to have a water meter. We gotta do it under the law of Base County. We're all gonna end up courthouse, and we're all gonna spend money, and it's all wasted when you could solve the problem. So I'd ask the mayor to meet with you and set up a meeting, tomorrow morning when it's convenient, and I can explain more things in detail that won't break the law, okay? we got to have something in writing officially. From here, it must be there by the 3rd, period. And I will help you write it, or I'll write it and you review it, whatever, it's yours and the mayor's pleasure. I'm just trying to help you to save money for everybody. And I come up with something that I never thought about before. But we're gonna have to get a meeting with Mr. Tabor solid. I think I'll come up with a way that we can get him a meter. He will still have to spend a little money, but I don't assume it's gonna be close to what it is, so that'll be up to Mr. Tabor. But I'm willing to work with Mr. Stewart and Mr. Killer, when I think the council is. I don't like lawsuits, but I'm afraid that's what it's gonna come to if we don't get together and sit down, and that ain't happening in 5 months. So I'm just asking, yes, that's what I was coming with, but I guess I was gonna have to wait since you wasn't here, but I was gonna get the mayor to talk to you. So, I appreciate you letting me say my say, and thank you for what you do the best you can. And you ain't Superwoman, I ain't Superman, but we gotta solve it, because it's gonna be costly from the government down. I'm sorry, finish.
So maybe we can set up a meeting sometime tomorrow and meet and take care of this.
Does Mr. Griffin need to be part of that meeting?
It'd be nice, it'd be nice,
Yeah.
but I really wanted a witness.
As long as it's
Because
after 1
it'll
o'clock,
take us
I'll
all,
be
but I
He's
wanna
plays
do it
golf
with
tomorrow.
Mr. Griffin, he plays golf tomorrow.
here. Hey,
Oh,
hey,
Yes, sir.
that don't matter. If
Well,
I need to be here, I can
well,
be here.
you do, believe me, you do. But I wasn't gonna ask you to give up another day in your golf game.
I'll be here
I would
if
put
I
it,
need to
let me
be.
tell you, I would put it off tomorrow evening, but I don't think I can stand it till tomorrow evening. It's just
Well-
it's about to worry me to death.
Just tell me what time to be here.
Well, Mr. Mayor and Sonia have to tell you, cause it both depends on them. I'll be here whatever time it is.
Well, I think I have something in the morning at, I believe, I'll have to check my calendar and get on, I believe at 10 o'clock. So could it be,
It'll be 1 or 2, whatever.
yeah, 1 or 2
Me and Susan
o'clock,
still
2
play
o'clock?
golf. I'll tough it out.
That'd be great, as long as it's after 1.
Okay, is that all right with you, Sonia, tomorrow at 2 o'clock?
Oh, that's fine.
2 o'clock, fine with you?
Yes, sir.
All right, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, we'll have a meeting. Okay,
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Bishop and Mr. Griffin.
Now, that satisfy what we were talking about?
Yes,
Okay,
that's it.
all right, good.
I did have one other thing for Sonia, on the update. Did you come up, which is an item on the agenda, about the, ordinances, Sonia? Are you there?
So I I emailed Franklin, because we do our ordinances through Franklin. And I emailed him and asked him, can you please tell me when they're gonna be updated, because it shows January. And I know I sent you all these ordinances and resolutions and stuff. And he emailed me back saying that they typically only update ordinances once a year, and that we would have to do a different type of contract. So,
Oh, jeez.
I had a conversation with Mavis Soliday a long time ago, and Mavis had suggested that she could help me and teach me how to do Google Docs.
Yes, ma'am.
And what will happen is that will save the city, one, a lot of money, because we won't be paying Franklin these fees anymore, and we would be able to upload the ordinances as soon as they're passed and signed by the mayor. We would be able to upload them immediately. So, that's the update on that item, but I am gonna have in the future agenda item as being to be able to work with Mavis Soliday to create Google Docs and get rid of Franklin altogether.
So,
Because Google
Thank
when-
you.
When did
I
they,
better check into that, I
did they
may
say,
need it.
did you hear,
Google Doc.
did you say that we've already did an update in January and we're only allowed to do one a year? Is that what you said?
once a year.
He said that they typically only do one update a year.
But
So basically what he was saying was that we are supposed to hold all of our ordinances and then give them to them all at once.
he
Instead
said
of how
that,
I've been doing it and like I've been emailing them to him like every month, every time y'all pass one, I've been emailing him. He's saying that they only update usually once a month, or excuse me, once a year, and that we would have to sign a different kind of contract. Well, I'm like, well, we're paying them so much money, and I started thinking about the conversation I had with Ms. Halliday, and I'm like, well, we would be saving money, and we could just upload the document right to the website, and citizens could read the document as it is versus having Franklin interpret the ordinance. Because I don't know if you go on our website and try to read those ordinances, some of them are pretty complex. They make it very difficult. So again, it might be the next agenda or the agenda after that, but I think it's something council should consider is getting rid of Franklin and use Google Docs instead.
Okay.
And I don't know if Ms. Halliday is in there or not.
Yes,
but
she is
might
here.
want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, she's here.
She may want to explain what it is.
Yeah. All right,
Okay.
Mavis,
Thank you.
go ahead. Thank you, Sonia.
There's only 2 libraries for the ordinances. 2 libraries in Texas, okay? You've got Franklin and you have another one. And when I called them, I called Franklin myself the first of the year. And I wanted to know why, if our city was sending ordinances, taking her at her word, why were they not out there? And why are they not on the website per what I've seen one written specifically? What they do is they take our ordinances and they key them into the library and they kind of go into a format. So our ordinances are not really written on the library like we have put them. So what we did in Rogers, we had them in a big book. We had about 5 books. We went from the day we started town to things with nuisance and animals to, we had them categorized. And we took them and we scanned every ordinance we had. And I put them in folders. And I have I still got them on my phone. I still have every ordinance. I put them in categories with the 2 ladies. And as we update, we left the old one in and added the new one because they go by dates. But we put them in Google Docs, which y'all have enough computer software here to take care of that Google account. We make a Google account, whatever, Gmail, and we put them in there. Now, if I want to share a document, for instance, somebody says, what's the animal ordinance? And I've done that to you guys on a few things. I've emailed it. I can email it as a copy, or I can email it as a link, and when you click on it, if I've entered your email address in there, you can go in and read that city document. You cannot change it, but you can read it. But those can then all be put in that folder on the website that says ordinance. You take that off and put up, like she's got department and agendas, she can put ordinances, and there will be a link, or we can put every one of those documents on that website. And it will just take us a little time, maybe some extra hands to help scan them in, but it won't take that much time to get some folders built and start putting them in there. I was an IT person and accounting, but my last years at work, I was an IT assistant, and that's where I learned to do it.
Okay.
And that was Google what?
Google Docs.
Docs,
Yeah,
D-O-X?
does anybody use
Google.
Google Gmail?
Google.
do.
I use
Okay, and if you ever do a Word document and it asks you to save it to the Google Cloud,
Yeah.
that is exactly what we're gonna do.
Oh,
We're gonna
okay.
scan them, and they're gonna go into a Google Cloud that nobody can go into.
Yeah, I use
Google
that.
Doc, D-O-C-K,
Docs, D-O-C-S.
D-O-C-S.
Yeah, and if you've ever bought a house like I did, I never saw the realtor. He sent me a Google Doc, and I scribbled my name on the screen of my tablet, and it sent it back to me, and that's how I signed for my
Yeah,
house.
I use that.
Yes, So Google Docs is totally free, and we're not paying these libraries this humongous amount of money for them to do, to keep her. And the only thing with that is, if, say, the building burns down and the computers, somebody, not hacks, but somebody decides to get mad at the city and they quit on us and they just wanna take all the stuff off, well, that's where you have backups. But with the library, can't nobody get rid of what we have.
Yeah.
But that's a big expense, and so this other way is really the way for a city to take care of their own business.
That sounds great to me.
That sounds good.
Yep.
Town was saving good money.
Thank you, Mavis.
If there's nothing else, why don't we go ahead and adjourn at 6 o'clock? Okay, it's now 6 o'clock and this, workshop now adjourned. That way everybody.
Mavis, I apologize for putting you,
That's okay.
Mavis, I apologize for putting you on the spot like that. I probably should have talked to you before I did that.
Now, you know Mavis likes to talk.
Yeah.
Jeez.
She don't mind.
You can't put her on the spot.
You know, I'm just joking.
I thought about it, I was like, I just kind of put her on the spot. I was just talking about this before I threw it out there.
Sonia, are you still there? Did she hang up?
Sonia,
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
How are you feeling? You're coughing.
Yeah, I know. I don't feel so good, but I'm
Okay.
all right. I'm not like dying or nothing.
Okay, all right. Well, I just wondered.
I don't have COVID.
She does?
no, she don't.
I'm fixing to put it on hold.
We're holding you.
We're holding you hostage. They did build your platform.
You can't be free and not. I've always told you before.
Isn't it great?
Please.
I want you in that meeting. I want you in that meeting.
Okay.
Hey, you know what? I've always wanted.
Okay, yeah.
Things got in their hand, and what am I doing?
I want somebody,
Not to not fix it. Just to keep it up, keep it skew off of it.
I don't understand all I know about
I
that
didn't mean to hit you.
Stewart and stuff. How in the world do they think we're ever gonna fix it if they don't let us in their land?
Can I tell you that?
Yeah,
Like Mr. Cass, once upon a time. Good friends ahead. We wouldn't have no damn city without Mr. Cass. You know what I'm serious?
I know it. I know it.
But it's hard to own a private water system and utility and be able to go.
I'm sure.
And finally, it just got, now, the city had no money, zero.
Yeah.
No money, no taxpayers. Except franchise taxes and everything to do, the city got to do that, they had to have water system.
Yeah.
We figured out a damn way to sell it to them, and what a cheap price, $912,000. 4, 5, 6, paying each 15 years. Good deal, anyway, that's tax-free money.
Okay, according to my watch, it's 6:30. Hello, everyone. This is Conley Bass. It's been properly noticed that there would be a meeting of the City Council of Bruceville-Eddy on August the 26th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. And citizens are encouraged to follow the COVID-19 safety measures as provided by the CDC guidelines. And this meeting, of course, is open to the public. However, those that would prefer to join remotely can do so by dialing 1-646-749-3335. Access code is 570-368-173. And our meetings are also available to watch on YouTube. And you can get the address, or whatever you call it, from the city if you want to join us on that. But please mute your phones and computers if you're listening in to avoid any interference during the meeting. I'd like to welcome everyone that's here tonight. And thank you for coming out and seeing how your city government works. That's the best way to see what's going on in your city. Before we start the meeting, I'd like to ask Ms. Linda Owens to lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Lord God, I pray that you'll continue to keep giving us all the strength and the wisdom to be able to do the right things for our city. Lord God, I pray that you'll watch over our city staff, our water department, our police department, our fire department, and for all of the people on the city council. Because, Lord God, we need your strength and wisdom to be able to make the right decisions. Lord God, I just pray that you'll continue to keep being with us all and be here with our citizens and listen to what they have to say so that we can keep an open mind. Someone told me once, Lord, that it's better to have 2 ears and only one mouth. So I ask for all these things in the precious name of our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Again. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Normally, we start the meeting off with citizens' presentations, but tonight we have Mr. Dan Pleitz here, and he would like for us to let him be first because he has other business he needs to go to. So item number 17 on the agenda, discuss and consider adoption of an ordinance number 2021-0826, and this is authorizing the issuance of the City of Bruceville-Eddy Texas Combination Tax and Revenue Certificates of Obligation. And this is to be issued in a total maximum principal amount of $5,861,000. This is the amount of the loan from the USDA for the sewer project. And Mr. Pleitz, would you like to present this to us, please?
I deeply appreciate y'all letting me go because I was here for a couple hours last night. And if I was number 17, my wife would think I had a girlfriend in the south part of Clinton County. So I appreciate it. Especially something like this as well. So y'all, I'm a bond lawyer, and I've done that a long time. And I write the legal papers to make a bond issue. And of course, you're looking at that for the sewer system. And tonight, Council's being asked to approve the borrowing resolution for this loan. We are way ahead on the schedule for this because the lender is the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, and they won't loan money until it's the project is what we call shovel ready, meaning land inspects are done, bids are taken, construction's awarded, and they're right at the time of about to dig the hole. And that will be a while. That'll probably be another year. But this is a legal milestone as a part of the process to borrow the money. This is a milestone. I mean, it is important in law, but the actual borrowing does not occur now. And as time moves along, we discussed last night, it's inevitable that it's going to take more than this amount of money, and there's a grant right now of about $4.5 million also to do the sewer system. So USDA, I believe, will intervene at that point where we're short. We're short what we're going to need. And when all of that is packaged together, this is when there will be a decision to make, go ahead and close this down. So this is getting us set up, but we're not, you're not obligated after tonight to borrow the money. Last night we talked about the payments, and I'm now going to talk to the council about a little handout I did in hopes that then later y'all can decide to vote or not on favor. This is part, related to a long resolution that we wrote. It's about 40 pages long. It's a 40-year loan. As the mayor said, it's for $5,861,000. The interest rate is a great rate. It's 2.625%, or a lower rate if that's what rate is in effect at USDA when we close this loan. So a year from now, rates have been going down. Okay, they're lower than 2.625 in the USDA system. Some of you probably had to borrow money in the last year or two, and rates, as you know, are low. But you cannot get any bank on earth to do a 40-year loan at that rate. That's just so low. I don't know, maybe there's some banks I don't know about, but that's a great rate. What a bond will look like is set out in the papers that in front of you. It's a draw bond. That's very favorable. What that means is, last night our engineer, a man named Johnny Tabor, said it'd take a year to build the sewer system. And for those of you that say bought a house, you know, you borrow all that money at one time and pay for that house. Well, we don't have to borrow all this money at one time. What we do is we borrow it as we need it to build the sewer system, and that will save you a tremendous amount of interest during construction. That's a good deal. We have a definition of the sewer project. It's very broad. You know, it's everything, land buy, easements, whatever we need to do. The city has 4 loans right now with the First National Bank of Moody, and we have worked with them, and they've been very kind to work with us on how our new big USDA loan will fit in with their loans, and we've come to agreement, and USDA is fine with what we're doing with them. In our world, the first lien is established by whoever loans the money first, okay? Well, Moody's loaned us money 4 times, and they've got a lien on our revenues that would be ahead of USDA, but they consented to USDA coming in and being sort of in the middle of theirs in terms of priority, which made that work better. This is going to take a minute. This loan is not secured by any real estate, so if we were to default, the USDA cannot come and foreclose on the sewer system. There's no deed of trust. It is secured by all 3, because this is going to be a large transaction of water revenues, sewer revenues when you get them, when the system's finished, and property taxes. And every year in this 40-year term, the council will have to decide how to allocate among those 3 funding sources. And it's not set in stone as to how you do it. I mean, we dipped at a lot of numbers last night. The city right now is doing it, the way I'm reading the numbers, we looked at it pretty well. Actually may have the money right now to pay for the loan we're talking about tonight. They're doing that much revenue. But when we get to the total cost of this thing, it's going to be a good bit more. And there's going to have to be a work done to figure out how to pay the total amount. We can borrow more money. If the USDA has a formula about how to borrow more money. And if 40 years from now, y'all gonna need to borrow money again, okay? Something's gonna come up. And basically what you have to show is what we call debt service coverage of about 1.2. That means you look at all the annual debt payments, and your revenue sources have to be at least 1.2 times that much, plus any new debt you add on. I know that's a lot to digest. I didn't talk about this last night with the council, but there is a short-lived asset reserve fund of $26,000 a year. That's for repairs.
Excuse me, somebody, you need to mute your phone. You're interrupting our meeting. Please mute your phone. Okay, thank you.
I thought that might
I'm
be.
sorry, go ahead.
I thought that was a dog or something.
No,
Yeah.
it's the teleconference.
There's
thing.
also on the next page too, a little handout I put for the council of $2,000 a month. That's a debt service reserve. That is to accumulate until that fund totals $240,000, but USDA may waive that. They're talking about that. Okay, we have to give USDA our annual audit because they have a right to monitor us as their debtor. If we default, all that USDA can do is go to court and have a mandamus entered by the court to make us pay. They have no lien, as we talked about. And finally, at the end of our process, we put the whole body issue in front of the Attorney General of Texas. And when they approve it, and they will, we know what they want to see and know what they like, the debt becomes legally incontestable. So you really are, you're bound to it. When we close it, which again, I think may be a year from now, and not until then, and when we really know what the whole banana is going to look like. And Mayor, I would be happy to answer questions. And then after that, I would ask that you would consider whether to adopt this or not.
Okay. Well, I have just one little question. It's probably gonna take a year to get all this done, to take bids. And then when we get the bids in, I'm sure it's gonna need more money.
That's right.
So how long will that take, do you
Well,
estimate?
here's what I think will happen. I mean, this is, so first of all, we've done a lot of USDA deals. And the bids, they want the bids in before they fund the money.
Yes.
And
so
we've
they
had
know
other
how
deals
much.
come in. Obviously, they've had other deals come in that were out of the money.
Yeah,
What they have done on our other deals is they've said, well, we'll loan you another $200,000 or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It takes me about 6 weeks from start to finish. And that's tricky. And let me tell you why that's tricky. The bids you got that were out of the money aren't gonna be good forever. They're gonna probably be good for 30 or 60 days. So we're gonna be scrambling to get the next bucket of money in place so the bids hold, so we're not like a donkey chasing a carrot on a stick, and it's always moving away from us.
especially here lately, yeah.
And so that's what I think will happen. I think they already know you're gonna go over.
Yeah,
I've talked to Terry Chenoweth, who's our USDA loan officer, and she knows we're gonna be over, and she knows it's gonna be substantial.
yeah.
And they may really, they may commit to a new loan before the year from now. And really, we need to kind of get them to do that, because it doesn't take us that long to write them down and get them approved by the Attorney General. But they have their processes are long. And, I suspect Terry's already thinking how we're gonna do the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's the government, isn't it? They
That's
don't,
true.
they don't get no hurry. And basically what you was talking about, the debt service a while ago in the beginning, and, so people understand it, you're just basically talking about the payments in 1 year to start with, what we already have in generating.
Yeah, what you've done,
I understood.
really, what we did on last night, what I was trying to get across is this. So if we just were able to build the whole sewer system for this loan, y'all probably never feel anything from that, because we are making enough money to pay it. At the water rates you now have, there's enough money in just that. And we're gonna be adding a sewer rate that y'all will have to work with Johnny at a later date. And we have, at a last resort, I'd call it, a backup of taxes. But if we stopped, we would be fine, but we can't stop. We all know this isn't gonna cover. But tonight is to take the first step to button down this first loan that's hard committed already by USDA. So that's done. And
Yes,
then
sir.
I hope to see you all again in a year.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So that's all I have to say, unless there's questions. And
Okay, so the people, they keep asking, when you gonna start? I've been working on this for 10 years. That's when we started. And, but what you're saying tonight for people to hear is, it's probably gonna be a year from now. We will take the bids, and when we get the bids, we know how much money we gotta have, and we know we're not gonna have enough. So we have to ask for more, and it'd be like at least 6 weeks before they say yes or no. And then if they say no, well then,
we just won't do it.
yeah.
I
And
mean,
if they say
they're not gonna
yes-
fund, and you're not gonna borrow a quarter of a sewer system.
Yeah, and then if they say yes, well then we start construction, and of course it'll take about a year to get it in. So
Correct,
you're looking at approximately 2 years before you can place the close.
correct.
Hopefully, if nothing
The
goes wrong.
construction period is, Mr. Tabor's.
Another thing, if we have to add, or I know we're gonna have to ask for more money, but hopefully we will get up, maybe up to 45% of that in a grant.
And that's all in their wisdom at USDA. They know the city backwards and forwards. They know there's no sewer system and that's rare now and that's a detriment. And
Okay.
I hope they will give you all the grant they
Okay.
can.
So we finally have more or less an approximate time that the sewer will be functional. Just a little over 2 years.
Yeah.
Someone, you're messing up our meeting here. Please mute your phone. Please mute your
We
phone.
have to disconnect.
Oh. We can still hear something. Please, somebody needs to mute your phone. Okay, thank you. Well, it's still going. That thing is.
Maybe Pam can.
All right, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done. I mean, y'all
Okay.
have to decide now whether you want to vote to approve tonight's ordinance.
Okay, and the ordinance, is this right here?
It's that big old fat deal.
Yeah.
That's
what y'all just got.
summarizing what I just talked about.
Yes, Mr. Thomas.
Yes,
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance if no other council member has anything to say on it.
Second.
Second, any discussion on it? Motion made and seconded to adopt and approve ordinance number 2021-08-26. And this is authorizing the issuance of the revenue certificates of obligation in the amount of $5,861. All in favor?
861,000.
Do what?
808, it's 5,861,000.
Oh, okay, how many thousand? Wasn't off too much.
Well, not too much, was you?
I'm sorry, I didn't see those zeros.
It's hard to
All all in favor? 5 yeas, ma'am, and no nays.
Okay.
we thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
evening.
Thank
we
you, sir.
appreciate it.
You have a good
Really
night.
do. Okay, so did everybody get an answer on when the sewer's probably coming? And pretty well how it's gonna be paid for. And away we go. Okay, thank you.
Amen.
Okay, now, item number 6, citizen presentations. This is where the citizens can speak before the meeting usually starts about anything that is not on the agenda, and they have 5 minutes to speak. And we have 2 people signed up to speak. Wait a minute. Yeah, 2 people. And I think the first one is Brent Mccain, and he's not here, but he's on the phone. Mr. McCain, are you on the phone?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, okay, go ahead and speak.
Yes, I just want to thank the council for allowing me to speak at the August 12th meeting. I don't have anything really to speak of at the moment for this topic. It's going to be on the agenda later, towards the last part of the agenda. So I just wanted to thank everybody for allowing me to speak and to
Okay,
and that's about it right now. I appreciate it.
okay,
And he's
all right, thank you.
number 22.
Next, signed up to speak, is Ricky Wiggins.
My name's Ricky Wiggins. I live at 803 West 3rd Street here in Eddy. And at our August the 19th special call meeting, Miss Sonda Prater spoke about me and made malicious, slanderous, and defamatory remarks about me. She stated that I had harassed Sonia. This is totally a false statement. I have never harassed Sonia. I have only brought out of city business items that in my belief was not being done properly, either through verbal and or written communication, and why I didn't think they were being done properly. Ms. Prater also stated that she had some emails between myself and a former council member wherein she stated that in that email, Sonia was called a whining bitch. And she then stated that I said that I completely and totally agree with you. This is a false statement. I have those emails, and I went back and reviewed them, and I never replied to that email. So either one of three things happened there. Either when she requested those emails, she wasn't issued all of the emails, or she did not look at the strand of emails correctly, or someone altered the emails. Either way, this was totally false accusation. Then Ms. Prater went on to state about following Sonia outside, going to her car and attacking her and in her face, hollering and screaming at citizens having to step in to intervene. She then asked if that was a threat, harassment, and assault. She led people to believe that this was me. And I stated at that time, I said I couldn't comment on something that I knew nothing about. I did not do this, and for Ms. Prater to falsely accuse me of this and all of the things stated here is slanderous, malicious, and defamatory. Folks, I was elected by the people to oversee and guide this city in all city matters, and I will not just go along to get along. If I see something that the city is doing that I believe is not correct, and we're not abiding by the law, then I will not turn a blind eye to that fact. By me trying to take corrective action in order to help the city to be in compliance, it appears that some people take that as harassing, attacking, threatening, or whatever demeaning word you want to choose. However, that would be and is totally incorrect. I have said this many times. All I want Sonia to do is to do her job, do it correctly, and with the laws and guidelines that the city has to follow, nothing more. I will not sit back and be slandered, and I hope you can understand that. Hopefully this will clarify this matter, and we can move on. Anyone, at any time, feel free to contact me about any city matter, and I'll speak with you about any concerns that you have about this city. But I will not sit back and be slandered, folks. Thank you.
Let's move on to item number 7, police report. Chief Dorsey.
Good evening, everybody. It's good to see all y'all.
Just a minute. Hello? You need to mute your phone. Hello? Somebody mute your phone. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. There was a couple things I wanted to present to everyone. Back in early, I believe March or April of 2020, the police department went around and we talked to all the local businesses that we have in our city limits, and we got, names of everyone, business owners, their contact information, made sure we had all their current information and a way to get a hold of them if something happened. And we currently have a security checklist that is in our computer system that it has all the business names and addresses, and then all the emergency contact information is listed, and gate codes or whatever pertinent information we might need. And every time we do a security check, it's logged, it has a date and time stamp, and then the officer that checked it, and then we can enter any kind of notes, and then that record is always kept with us. So I wanted to extend that out to our citizens, and I first wanted to start with, the police department came up with an emergency contact information form, because there's a lot of times, and I believe every law enforcement agency has this problem, is we may get a call or show up on a scene and we need someone's phone number or a way to get a hold of them, and we don't have that information. And in some instances, you know, every second is critical and we need a way to get a hold of somebody. So with this form, it starts out with just the basic information, contact information, and then it has 2 additional emergency contacts for that person. And then down at the bottom, it has comments or any kind of special information that you'd like us to know or you feel like we need to know. All this information will be kept confidential. It's for our internal use only. And it will go into our computer system. That way we can access it, and that way we have a way of having updated information, and that way we can get a hold of the citizen or their family members if something happens. What I was planning on doing is setting a stack of these forms out in the lobby here. We'll have some at our police department. I'll give some to my officers to carry around in their vehicles, and then I'll also put a link or have the city administration put this on the city website, a link to these forms that you can print out and fill out and then return back to us. But I did make a stack of envelopes that's already pre-addressed to our department. So you can drop them off here at City Hall, you can drop them off at the police department, or mail them, or however you feel like would be best to get them back to us. But I feel like that would really help, you know, having current and updated information that we can use. The other thing I wanted to briefly talk about is we have a form. It's called the Request for Close Patrol. And this form can be used for if you're going, you know, if you're going out of town for the weekend, if you're going on vacation, or if you simply just want us to check your residence or your business every night, or, you know, as often as you'd like. This form has a lot of different information. It has contact information. It has vehicle information and different other things. I won't go through all of it just for time's sake. But there's a lot of different things on here that would help us out. And then we can put that in our system that every time we check it, it'll be logged. And then once we get our new camera systems at the first or second week of next month, anytime we do a security check and someone requests it, with our new camera systems, we'll be able to put up a geofence on our computer system. So anytime our vehicle shows up or leaves that area, the citizen can be notified by email or text message that we were there and we checked your residence or your business. So just having that piece of technology, just not only will we have record that we checked it, but we can also notify the citizens, you know, by email or text message that we were there and we checked your property. But I would appreciate, you know, as much participation in these forums, and it would really help us out. And that way, you know, we'll have, again, good information and information that we can, that could, you know, it could save a life. I mean, there's a lot of good reasons to try and get this filled out. Yes, sir.
That's wonderful, because I've used it before and had to request. I've been out for different reasons, not often, but when I'm gone for a long period of time, I ask. So that's, I think that's a huge, wonderful thing for this city and this community. And I thank you for doing it.
And I know that we're a small department, but, you know, I want the citizens to know that we're on y'all's side. You know, we support y'all, and we want to be here to serve and protect the community and our citizens. And, you know, we want to be involved as much as we can. And, you know, we truly do care about the people that we serve. So I hope this sheds some light on that, and we'll just, you know, build that community relationship.
So we do appreciate you.
The only other thing I have real quick, I'll have my police, the monthly report for the police department at our next meeting, but since I am doing the city ordinance enforcement, do have that report. We have 18 pending cases, and then we have 13 cases that have resulted in the property owner receiving a citation. you know, my main focus on that, you know, isn't to write citations. You know, even when a citation is written, I've talked to our municipal prosecutor, and they want, you know, compliance. And if they, you know, once compliance is met, they'll dismiss the ticket. So you'll end up, you know, resolving it without having to be fined, or, you know, it's just a way to get things resolved. But, you know, we do this just to try and keep our community and our city looking nice, and just enforcing the city ordinances that we have. And that's just the primary goal. You know, it's not to write citations, it's just to get, you know, people in compliance and get everybody on board with following our city ordinances. But I think that's all I have. But thank y'all.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. I don't know, I see in the packet here, there's 2 more sign-ins from, Mr. Jason Villa and, Dorothy Coker to speak. Are y'all here tonight? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Are you Mr. Villa?
Jason Bella, yes, sir.
Oh, Bella, okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
But you're on the agenda here, so.
Yes,
So
sir.
just, we'll get to you in just a few minutes.
Thank you,
All right,
sir.
thank you. Okay. Item number 8, council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on a water meter install cost for Jason. Well, here we are, Mr. Bella. Okay. So you need a meter. There's a question, I'm not familiar with it, so if you want to tell us what it is, or.
Sure, you mind if I approach the?
Sure,
Yeah.
up here.
First of all, I'd like to thank the council. Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to speak. Thank you, men and women of the community, for also allowing me to be here today. Basically, what I'm bringing to you and want to make you informed of is the cost of meter installation, a new meter installation on a new home build, which my family has owned property here in Bruceville now at 4005 Box Ranch Road since 1982, so going on 38, 39 years now. In that time, we've also been a part of the city water system and have paid into that to make sure that we, as a community, continue to improve our water system and have flowing water for us to, that is a necessity for all of us, obviously. I have since divided that property, 4005 Box Ranch Road, into 2 properties, one being my mother, who has become terminally ill with leukemia and is currently we're fighting that battle as a family. But I've separated that property so that I could build a permanent home next to her to be able to care for her at 3985 Box Ranch Road. Currently in the building process, I'm attempting to acquire a water meter from the city, and I've been advised that it's going to cost me approximately 10% of the cost to build the house. So the city's wanting to charge me $18,000 to put a water meter onto the property. Now, this does include improvements, which they're saying is included in that cost. I don't believe that is fair, nor do I believe that is, I just believe that that's an absurd price to pay to be able to get a water meter installed on your property when the necessity is the water in and of itself. As we've heard earlier, the revenue from the water system is going to be paying for the new sewer system, hopefully. So I'm hoping to be a part of that and to add to the community's ability to pay for that by adding a water meter and being able to put into the water system itself. And this is what I'm coming to the council for. You know, I'm a 1995 graduate of Lorena High School. I love this community. I want to be a part of this community, and I want to serve this community. As you can see, I am a police officer for the city of Waco and have been now going on 16 years, and I've been an employee with the city of Waco for going on 20. So I know what it's like to be part of a community and to be able to serve, not only to serve but to protect, and I want to be able to serve this community as well. And that is my passion. That is why I'm here, and I'm asking the board to forego those improvements, which, according to a city document I received through digital email, signed by a Miss Lori Hayes, who within the document from the city of Bruceville Water Supply stated that the city can always provide water service if the applicant is or pays for any required improvements. A secondary document was sent to me from Tabor and Associates, and of course, Mr. Tabor, who you heard earlier, is the city engineer, gave a water system service study stating or making recommendations of improvements to the water, which came to a cost of approximately $18,000. Now, the argument I have herein lies that the document provided by the city asked for me to pay for required costs, not recommended costs. So what I'm bringing to the floor is I'm asking the council to provide me with direction and basically to come to a conclusion to allow me, and I'm not looking for a handout. I'm willing to pay the cost of the meter and installation of the meter, but these recommended costs of $18,000 I think are overbearing to a member of this community.
Mr. Tabor, do you?
Tabor?
Hey, he said
no,
Tabor.
I'm gonna say something, but it's all legit. Don't insult me. No, I'm kidding you. Do you want me to?
Yeah, you're
Well,
familiar with
I got to be careful here.
Yeah.
I understand it. I understand it. But the city is in a tough spot here. We do the best we can. It's no excuse, I'm just telling you. To improve this water system as we can. We want to be fair, equitable, and honest. And I feel for you out there. And there's some others up there we're dealing with right now. It's the same. But at the present state, and I hope that, I pray, and right now we're in the process of trying to do some things. We can't promise you, and I can't promise, I'm just warning. If there's some improvements need to be made there, there's no question. And the engineer, and he's not the only one before. The law, under the law is, and the pressures, it's there now in compliance with TCEQ, the government rules and regulations of how much water per meter is such pressure. It can't be any more meters. You ain't the first, there's a bunch of them on that line. So, the best they can do, or the policies we've had in place for this city for a long time, is to go through the recommendation of professional people. That happens to be the engineer, whomever it is, and this time it's Mr. Taylor. I don't know what he suggested, but I believe you. But the council would need to see it, but it's not gonna, and honestly, I probably ain't gonna change their opinion. Or the council opinion, but I can't speak for them, but there's precedence happened here. I don't know what he wanted to do, but whatever it is, he feels like that $18,000, it could have been 10, could have been 22. Will allow us under the law to add you a meter. Now that's the justification for it. Do I like it? No, I want you to have a meter. And it's even more so for me, and I'm not gonna say I'm gonna vote for it or whatever, but what you doing for your mama? I took her and my daddy to 97, I got you. We're working on it hard. I just want you to understand it. And the council I believe, of the normal. We work diligent and as hard as we can, but under the law, we don't have enough money to do the whole project out there now, because there's not enough meters there to justify that kind of cost. So what has happened, the burden is put on you, the individual, one at a time. And I hope I make it long enough to see that change. You understand what I'm trying to say? If you got something to ask, I'll answer the best I can under the law, and hope I don't get us nothing in trouble. Because I'm being honest and truthful the best I know how in my 22 years experience in water here. So I know I didn't give you the answer, but I'm telling you the answer that we can give you under the law, period. I don't like it, but that's just the way it is. That don't help you. But I hope it gives you some peace, maybe. Maybe. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Bradley.
Ms. Owens?
Okay, I just have a question, was, now this one out on Box Ranch Road, just $18,000 for you to have another meter on your same property next to your mother's, okay, is that where they're trying to, is that gonna, 18,000, is that for the whole pipes? Or is that just gonna be for his improvement just in his property? Or, I know that we had been talking about Box Ranch Road, you know, that the pipes weren't big enough to put more meters on there for the water pressure, okay?
And the volume.
And, yes, sir. Okay, so is the 18,000, is that for improving that whole strip, or is that just improving his part
It's
right
what,
there?
the thing, like I said, I don't know what Mr. Taylor proposed, but I'm gonna tell you this, I was gonna ask him, I forgot it, I apologize. Exactly, and I know Box Range, no Crossroad, I know where Box Range starts and stops, then it goes up in the Robin Road, Mrs. Owens, that's what we were talking about before, going up past.
Yes, sir.
Whereabouts on Box Ranch do you live, but it doesn't, and then I got a specific area.
Sure. I am closer to the Robin Split. If you're familiar with, there is some sort of resort right next door to me. I don't know how that got put in there.
Where?
Some sort of bed and breakfast, something or other that's right over there, right next door to my property. And I don't know how that got put in, but there's
Is it
several.
before the corner where it splits?
It's before.
On the left?
Yeah, no, it's on the right-hand side. There's a big game fence across from my
Yeah,
property.
I saw it, but I hadn't seen any houses because.
Now, they're just, the water department was just out there, fixing the line on my property. They were on there this morning, fixing the line on that property.
But you're on this side.
It was dug up. A meter could have been put in right then and there
Are
if you
you
would have
on
had
this
it
side of the
available. And I
fence?
would have paid for it out of my own pocket right
Are you on
there.
this side of the game fence or the other side?
I'm on, the other side of the game fence. I'm on,
You're not too
the
far.
the northeast side of the game
You're
fence.
not
if you're
too
looking
far
at.
from Robin Road.
No, I'm not at all. I'm right
Well-
there, just before the curve, right there.
That makes it even more complicated for me, and I know the lines I also put in, but, to answer your question, it's a mile and a half or so back the other way toward the crossroad. So I don't know what he can do there unless he takes an extension, adds on to so many feet. It'd possibly give him enough more volume and pressure there. And I don't know how it can come from Ranch Grass and Robin Road, but that's just inch and a half, so. This was similar to the things that we was talking about Mr. Kilo. Without me seeing it, I can conjecture,
Yes.
but I don't know.
Mr.
That's the only thing that
I just wasn't for sure what the 18,000 was going to be.
Well, it's an improvement to get him some more volume in the
Just-
system, more volume and more pressure to be able to satisfy, he can put his meter on. That's
Just
what it's for.
just for his property?
Just for him.
Okay,
He ain't gonna help nobody, well, it might help somebody else, I don't know, I gotta see it.
yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
could pose a question to Pam. Do we have any, like, system when we have meter requests, and they happen to be from, like, people in the same area? And when we do a meter study, improvements are required to provide a meter. Do we have any, pulling together, of those requests like that may be affected by the same improvements. And so if a group of people, and I'm just throwing out a, you know, panacea type thing, but,
Yes,
if-
every one of them, I have them on the spreadsheet.
uh-huh,
So when it comes, an improvement gets done, I'll notify every one of them that, hey, the improvement's getting done. You can go ahead and sign up and get your meter.
Well, that's just for the ones it affects, is that correct? That's
Yes,
just to
for-
forget, yeah,
Just for the
Yeah.
ones,
Yeah.
and I do have people in that same area. for
yeah,
me.
that's great.
so what I was curious about, if there were several requests that were affected by the same lines,
Improve.
Yes.
and these people could be notified of the other interests, you know, the other people, that maybe they could split the costs of these improvements, where they wouldn't be looking at, you know,
That's what I
such,
said all the time.
you know, such a load for one person. I mean, is there any way we can connect those people together?
Well, the only thing, when you go to all these meters,
Mhm.
I was quoted $240,000 to get 20 meters.
Yeah,
So that's, and really and truly that 18,000 or whatever it is probably gone up since the pipe and everything has gone up. But he puts on there each individual one, how much will cost that person to get a meter, not for everybody else.
Can I finish the exchange? Yeah, yeah.
yes, I would.
So maybe we could kind of get them all together and,
Well, I'm just saying that maybe, I'm just saying, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no,
Yeah.
like you said,
I'm saying maybe that these improvements that we're talking about here could increase pressure enough so that maybe other meters could also be added with those same improvements. I mean, I'm just throwing out a, you know, hypothetical.
Well, like I said, I sent him the 20, he knows the 20 meters, and he gave me the amount, and that amount he quoted will only be for the 20 meters themselves.
Okay.
If there's more people out there, then the improvements may have to be changed. I don't know, that's something that I only submitted him the ones that I had, and I've been holding on to until upgrade is done.
Okay, thank you.
That's the reason the 18th for one. So do 20 is gonna take 240,000. So in this case, that's what I've been talking about all the time. If we get enough, then we can pool it, and maybe the city, it'll be enough revenue in the long term for the city to help pay a little. But to be honest, and I try the best you can, but I'm not speaking for Mr. Taylor. I'm just speaking from my knowledge. And where he sits, he's not gonna get any more water volume and pressure from the north. It's inch and a half comes out of Ranch Crest, and it comes back way down Box Ranch Road and hits a 3. And then he goes back to get a 6. And the 6 runs 1,000 foot. Now, I can't tell you exactly how far a 3 runs, but he runs pretty good chunk, but the biggest chunk's an inch and a half. So the only way, I'm conjecturing, I'm only understood, period, that I think what he's doing, and I don't know, is to do something with the 3 or do something with the 6 a little further back, because that's the source of the water, and it ain't from the north. I can promise you. Help with the construction of Ranch Crest, and I know where the water comes from. So I don't know, but that's all I see. And Pam hit the nail on the head about more meters. That's just for one. But I don't know what Mr. Taylor suggested, but that's what I'm assuming, but I don't know. Thank you, Pam. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Fowler.
Ms. Owens?
It's sinking in a little bit, you know, but, okay,
Jesus. Okay, it's all right. You got
for an example, say it's me out
Yeah.
there, and the people here you know, they don't wanna pay anything to get their lines bigger, and these don't wanna pay to get their lines bigger. How is that gonna help me, period, to pay 18,000 or more, 20,000, to have my pipes bigger when it's coming in at a 6, and then it got my 10, and then it's going out as a 6? How's that gonna improve? I mean, I'm sorry,
That's okay.
I don't understand water.
Are you asking me or somebody else?
Yeah,
You're not an engineer.
no, I'm not.
Neither am I.
But what I'm saying, it don't make any difference about the pipe that he's got on his property,
Uh-huh,
period.
yeah, well, what's the
It's-
improvement gonna do?
What did I say?
Okay.
The improvement's gonna give him more volume of water and more pressure from wherever's come from to his house.
Okay, all right,
To get
got
him
it.
1 meter.
Got it now. All right, it
Well,
just took a
it's
split
okay.
second.
I
got
don't
a light
know,
bulb.
I don't know a lot about what you deal with either, and I don't know, but anyway, it's all right, but I hate to burden the people,
Yeah,
but,
okay, all right,
I'm trying to help the man.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but these are the options, and yet that don't help him now, and I don't know what to say besides that. They told him the truth.
Well, if there's 20 people out there needing meters, maybe the city could put in an improvement
Yes,
to where he wouldn't have to pay.
yes,
That's what,
but if and what, you catch a rabbit too, so the people, somebody gotta do something.
yes.
And do it, if you're gonna do that, I don't want to see responsibility, but I don't mind, talking to people, I don't know, but, they gotta speak up, plus, they gotta be willing to participate to get a new meter.
Yeah.
Because this system was built, but people been here forever, and moved in recently, or 2 years, or whatever, and they can't come in free gratis and build on somebody else's money for nothing. If you're willing to pay, I think anybody would be willing, but I can't tell you what other people gonna do. Now, that's just my opinion, and as a matter of fact, that's the truth.
Your mother has a meter.
Mother does have a meter. She's been paying on that meter since 1983.
And see, you wouldn't have a problem getting a meter if the water was there, and the pressure was there, because you already established your credit and whatever. And of all the people here, I feel for you, I hurt for you, but I swore to uphold the law best I can. Now, if my feelings has gotta go out the window, but I can still show you I care. And I'm gonna say, I care, but I can't be biased and prejudiced, period. I'm sorry, for me. I'm just speaking for me.
Well, right now, I mean, I can't speak either, but there's growing demand out there, and I think we need to get with the engineer and figure out some kind of a plan to send more water out there at once, and then when these new people come in and want meters, they just hook onto it. That would be the thing to do. All it takes is money.
That'll be up to the council that wants to spend that money.
Right, but I think we need to think about looking into doing that.
I
Because
think,
that's not gonna be next week. And you're wanting the meter yesterday, so I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm just sorry. Yes, sir.
She was first.
Oh, okay.
I'm just wondering why the city is requiring a citizen to pay for water pipes.
Well, that's the
Get
law.
their water.
Yeah.
I can understand a citizen if it's on their property
sit on,
and they're putting in water pipes on their property to go to their home. But why would a citizen have to foot the bill for pipes that the city should be providing them water? I don't understand that. That's not fair.
Well, it's not fair the way I agree with you. It's not fair.
Something needs to change.
grandfather's built a long time ago.
Okay, I don't know that much about the water. I don't
That
claim
makes
to,
no sense.
but I know the law
Councilman,
says that
makes
we
no
have
sense.
to furnish water, but if it takes an improvement,
Then why does he have to pay for the improvement when it's the city's water supply?
well, I don't know.
Their pipes.
I don't know. I don't
I
like
don't
this
understand
either.
that.
I'd like to just put in a meter, but
I do, but I
TCEQ
ain't
won't
gonna
let
say
you
that.
do that. Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, my name is Pat Culkin. I spent 15 years studying public water policy in grad school. Jason, I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I
But,
do.
I'm not here as a consultant, but I can maybe clarify some of the misunderstandings that
Okay,
First of all, it's not in the city limits,
yeah.
correct?
It is correct.
The way water
Okay.
systems in Texas are set
Could
up.
you, come up here? We can't hear you.
Let you share the
I
mic.
didn't plan on this, but everybody's like kind of going this way, and I spent a long time and have 2 degrees in the field.
So the way, my name is Pat Culgin. Again, I spent 15 years in grad school studying public water policy and economics. I have 2 degrees, one from Baylor and one from Texas A&M, class of 2013. The way public water systems in Texas are set up, they are not set up according to city limits or counties or extraterritorial jurisdictions. They're set up under a system called a Certificate of Convenience and Necessity. And I just kind of wanted to clarify that. So it's not the city that is going, it's the city water supply, not the city itself as that public entity that is responsible for providing him water. Does that help you all? Okay.
Understand?
Did you have?
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you.
sir, thank you for calling on me. My name's Eddie McDevitt. I'm a real estate professional. I also know Jason, and I'd just like to, I commiserate with his cause, and I'm going through the same problem. I live in Lorena, and I'm in a Levi water system, so I'm going through a very similar thing right now with trying to get a water meter. So that said, I would just like to bring up some of the impact for the city council to consider. I work for Magnolia Realty. I get about 5 folks a day from out of state. I've probably got a few who have contacted me while I've been sitting in this meeting who are moving here, and they're moving here in droves, as everybody here knows. And one of the things I would like to just leave with the council and all the folks who are here tonight is the impact of such a cost-prohibitive improvement on a property. What it is doing is it's basically taking a person who has lived here their whole life, whose family bought property here, paid for it, and has been paying into a water system, regardless of where that comes from. That really doesn't matter to the average citizen who is in charge of it. What matters is, can I get water or not? So that said, as a result of such a cost-prohibitive measure of $18,000, which being, Jason's a good friend of mine. I've helped him, with building the house. 10% of the budget to get a water meter on property that you already own, that already has a water meter next door. What that is going to cause, in my opinion, as a real estate professional, is pretty simple. People who have lived here their whole lives and are local are not going to be able to afford properties. And what I've experienced in Lorena now is, I've lived there 6 years, is the price has kind of skyrocketed. And people who are from Lorena, who are trying to buy properties in Lorena, can no longer afford to do so. And pastures are becoming subdivisions, and, I have one 23-acre pasture on my road that became 8 subdivision houses. And 6 of those are out-of-state tags in the driveway. So basically, by having a measure where it costs so much for a person to be able to put water on the property, all that's gonna happen to the town is you're gonna be bought up by people who don't mind throwing down $165,000 to put a well on a piece of property. And so I would just like the council to consider, you're obviously gonna look at revenue and look at ways to build money for the town, and the town is gonna get priced out. If folks like Jason can't afford to put water meters, then we're gonna get somebody from out of state who's coming with a suitcase full of cash, and I see them every day, who don't even care about, I don't care if there's water or not, I'll dig a well. And a well at his property would be priced would be about $165,000, which is almost as much as the house that's going on the property.
The thing is, probably can't get the permit to dig it. And I understand it. McClellan County and the Trinity, you know that.
So I just wanted to kind of leave that with the council. All we were kind of hoping for tonight was grace. What we're looking at in total is, and I've talked with, the water department on numerous occasions, here and over in Lorena. So I have a little bit of
understand? I understand. Which you've already heard.
Yes, sir.
To do that improvement, I just wanna spit it out, probably much more than 200 and some thousand. But, you're right. We can't kill it. We can't kill the homeowners and the landowners. And it's sort of like what I like to think, and I know what the council sort of thinks about this, and I do as well. We don't wanna have to raise the water rates, and to do it, probably would, and then we're gonna catch it, but that's okay. But it's sort of like the field of dreams. Y'all know what I'm talking about, the baseball field. Build it and they will come. But that's tough. That's tough to do, on the faith, hope, and a promise. But I understand you, but we gotta live under the rules and the law. That don't mean I gotta like them, you don't either, but you're right. I agree with your scenario, but the other part is the facts. I'm basically done with that, so.
Mayor,
Yes.
is Tabor on the phone or
Yes.
anything? Johnny,
Tabor?
is Johnny on the phone?
No, I don't think so.
Just one,
He's
Can I
not.
ask one more question about the payment then, while we're here?
you can ask the mayor, I guess.
What's that, sir?
I was finished.
Okay.
But I don't mean, you talk to the mayor, ask him to talk, I mean.
All right, I apologize.
No, you don't have to.
So I guess my question would be, if you have this $18,000 of paying, which you're basically taking care of a water line, so you're 18,000, is there any possibility of if an individual paid this $18,000 that at some point, which is something the city would do if the city had money to do it, is there any possibility of at some point an individual being reimbursed, or like some sort of deal worked where, okay, you don't pay a water bill for the next 10 years or something like that, to basically take off the burden of this cost of the upfront $18,000, which would be paid for if the city had the money. So I kind of feel like you're paying into a loan of, hey, if the city had money, we would pay this, but we can't, so you're stuck with it. Is that possible, something like that?
At this time, it's not. I mean, I don't think anything like that could even be arranged, because we can't give water or charge less to anyone. Everybody has to be charged the same and pay the same, and that's law, you know. But what we need to do somehow or other is improve and enlarge the water lines out to that area. And now we've done some just recently, but evidently didn't go that far. It's for those 2 new housing additions and.
It's way on the other side of it.
Yeah, it's not the same, but we need to make improvements, and that's what we are already starting planning to do and working on now. Out in Falls County, for instance, we need improvements, and over in your area, we need bigger pipelines. We've got plenty of water, we just don't have a way of delivering it, and we have got to improve that.
One final thing.
But for right now, Mr. Bella, I simply don't have an answer, except the $18,000, which, like Pamela said, it's probably already gone up since you got that prize. I mean, it's a crying shame that we can't do something, but I mean, yes.
When you finish, sir.
Go ahead, tell him. Talk.
No, I
I'm
was
through.
waiting, I just wanted to.
I'm through with the talk.
This is huge tonight. Huge. Because you hit the finest nail on the head. Everything else, it has to be tended to too. But without water, y'all brought the importance of it to here. I want the council to hear it. We've been talking about it, so it's come to the forefront, and I want people to know how important it is. Without water, you cannot survive, period. Ain't nothing else gonna happen. That's my #1 priority, sitting on this council. And I'm not gonna give up on that, but I have other duties as well. But I appreciate everybody's input. But it also reinforces my opinion I've been talking to this council about for a little while. And I want to thank everybody, and I appreciate everybody giving me an opportunity to talk. Thank you very much. I'm done.
Good, thank you. Does anybody else got an answer for him? I just don't have an answer, except, I mean, you've already talked
There is
with the
none.
engineer, and, he says $18,000. That's all we can do.
Should we
at
be
the time.
talking, maybe find out, maybe,
Yeah.
put this on, later on and get a hold of Johnny and
Yeah,
maybe do it on another agenda or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Mr. Wiggins has got his hand up.
yes.
You know, there's other people out here just like you. Jay Stewart, for example, I believe it was, wasn't it over 40,000 for his span?
45.
45 versus your 18. Don't we have a Soul Circle that we need to, is it Soul Circle?
No,
Yeah.
Horseshoe,
Horseshoe
okay, I'm
Bend.
sorry.
In all
Horseshoe
Falls County.
Bend.
All Falls.
We have so many places that we need to upgrade our lines, get bigger lines. It's just a bad deal, and if, you know, if we say, well, okay, well, we'll pay your 18, and then Jay's gonna be standing in line, well, you paid his, we'll pay mine 45, and then people out on Horseshoe, well, upgrade our lines, and before you know it, somebody else is coming in here, and we can't set a precedent. It's just a bad deal, but hopefully you understand where we're at, because you're not the only one.
It's not that we don't.
It
want
doesn't
to.
help you,
We plan to and want to and gonna do our best to upgrade it all, because with growth coming, I mean, whether we get sewer or not, our water system is spread out over 122 miles. We've got one of the largest water systems. Usually a little town, they just have a little water system, but ours is made up, originally it's made up of what?
65 square mile.
Yeah.
Square mile.
8 or so different water companies that absorb here, like there used to be Bruceville Water Supply, and the Eddy Water Supply, and Green Oaks Water Supply, and they've all been combined into the Bruceville-Eddy Water Supply. That's the reason we are all out in the country and everything, and if we're gonna be out in the country, we're gonna have to upgrade, we're gonna have to do it. Yes, yes, ma'am.
I'm new here and I don't really have hardly a leg to stand on, but you said everybody's under the same law. With all due respect, he is a police officer, and I feel like that with all the police officers are going through and all of the hogwash that they're going through, I feel like that, y'all need to support that in our community and give them a break, a little grace.
Well, I agree with you, but it wouldn't matter if he was Santa Claus.
Well,
The
that's
law
not-
goes that we can't, you know, I mean,
Well, with all due respect, it does matter.
well, yeah, well, we can't, the law won't allow it. You can't just break the law because he's a police officer.
Where's the money go?
Sure, we feel sorry for him. I mean, my heart breaks for him. His mother's out there and he wants to build a house and be next to his mother. But the city, we're under TCEQ and laws, and we have to abide by all those laws. I mean, it's not us. We're not trying to be disrespectful to him. We respect him as a police officer, and it seemed like I used to know a police officer, Bella.
You did.
Was your father a police officer?
He was.
I used to know him.
I appreciate that.
I certainly did. When you said, I said Bill, and you said Bella, and I said, yeah, I used to know your father.
Absolutely.
Respected him very much. And
I can say that in the report that I received from Mr. Tabor, it did state that the PSI, according to TCEQ, was supposed to sustain 35 PSI, which is what the system is currently at.
Yes.
And with my meter, it would reduce it less than 1%.
Yeah.
I'm talking less. So we're still at that 35%, which is not going to be, which is still going to be, according to what I was stated within the requirements of TCEQ. So that's what I'm bringing to the board. And the fact that the city is stating that I am required to pay the required improvements, these are all recommended according to Mr. Tabor himself within his paperwork. So that's what I'm trying to bypass. I'm not bypassing the fact that it's gonna cost $18,000 to upgrade the system.
Yeah.
By no means am I trying to get around that. What the argument I'm making is that the city specifically sent me a document saying that I should, or I will pay before I get a meter, the required improvements. All of these stated by Mr. Tabor are recommended and should be made, but not shall or will be made according to argumentative law.
Well, looks to me like that makes a difference, because if adding your
And
meter doesn't.
you can, I've got a print up here. The board is more than welcome to review that. I didn't bring enough for everyone. I've got the digital copy sent to me direct from the city. But that is my argument, the fact that, you know, these costs appear to me to be recommended costs, not the required costs specifically from the city itself.
Do you have a report from Mr. Taylor?
Absolutely, it's all in here.
Does it, Pam, on that report, are you familiar with this, with his case?
Very last line is the requirement.
I didn't
The
send
second
him the
page
letter,
is the
but I
recommendation.
dealt with a lot of them, what you need.
Okay, does that report state that if it'll fall below the 35 by adding him? Is that what the report states?
Yes, any other meters out there, like I said, I've got plenty, and I got people before him that'll only take, any additional meters we put out right now, it will affect everybody else in the neighborhood.
Right.
Mr.
But
Griffin.
fair play, we hadn't seen that report.
No, that's why I brought it with me today, so you guys could look
Thank
at that.
Mr. Griffin would like to say something.
I would just like to say, it sounds like to me we need to get Mr. Tabor in
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
find exactly what's happened here.
yeah, okay. Yeah, because if it doesn't lower the pressure
Yeah.
and it's still in compliance, and if it doesn't, what we gotta do, TCEQ requires us to produce 8 point, how many gallons?
1.5 gallons per minute is
According to
35
that, I believe
PSI.
it's at 1.2
20
gallons.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't seen this.
At 35 PSI, which would be within the water meter, the requirements.
Well, it looks to me like you could get it, but we need to check
gotta
into
get-
this and see why he can't get a meter if that's the case.
Mr. Mayor,
I don't see that.
can I make a motion?
All right, well, let her.
Oh,
say
I'm sorry.
One
Oh,
thing
yeah.
and then, yes,
Okay.
go ahead, please.
I haven't done any consulting in 5 years, and I obviously did not come prepared to talk about water policy.
Yeah.
I'd like to make 2 comments, though. I'll be happy to sit down with you guys
see it, Jay.
and talk about your water stuff. If you'll buy me lunch. And it's been my experience that if you're at PSI, if you're at 35 pounds, then you can probably add 1 meter without any difficulty at all.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Okay,
again, I
Pam?
apologize for jumping in, but this is my field.
Okay.
Just happened to be here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Pam?
I understand where he's coming from, that he wants a meter, but if we add that one, the other 19 are gonna be wanting to know, why can they get on there? Because I do have a man that started this, and he's in line way before he is. So that's gonna be a problem if you add
Yeah,
one,
that's true, yeah.
and then you got my other 19 or so
You gotta
saying,
be
okay,
careful,
why don't you
Mr.
give that
Mayor.
one,
You gotta be
when
careful.
y'all rejected mine?
This needs to stop, man. I can't hear, Pam.
Since the engineer is not here and we are not all that smart on the water stuff, I think maybe we should move on with this meeting and before it goes on any longer, but right now, I mean, we don't have an answer, but we'll try to find an answer, and let you know.
Mr. Mayor,
Ma'am.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Yeah, I was just gonna make a motion.
okay, go ahead.
And try to move us along, but
Or-
I'd like to move that we ask Johnny Tabor to, or maybe we ask Mr. Vella to explain his questions and where you're suggesting there's some inconsistencies. And let's let Mr. Tabor answer those and Pam answer those. And maybe we get a report or maybe a time on the agenda where we can address this entire area out there as a whole and have Johnny explain to us, here's the circumstances we have. And then, I would say we maybe put Mr. Vella, if he would want to come back and be on the agenda, we just get him the answers that he's asking for, and then at the same time address the whole area out there and what we're really talking about. I think that would be good.
That sounds good.
Okay. So I would move that. I don't think I can say it again twice, but.
No.
Yeah. So-
She records it, so she
Okay.
can.
So,
Motion made and seconded,
Somebody.
for all the stuff he just said. You may have to reduce it down a little. Did you get that?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor? 5 favors, okay.
Don't
Okay.
give up.
We're
Don't
gonna
give up.
try to do some,
not give up.
and hopefully we can. If there's any way possible, we'll get you a water meter.
Ladies and gentlemen, council, thank you
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Yes,
Thank
I've
you.
got all that. I've got
Absolutely.
everything
Thank you,
down.
sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. I'm sorry we couldn't give you an answer. Item number 9, council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on allowing Dorothy Coker to use the property behind hers that belongs to the city. This is the property donated to the city from the solar farm. It's 44 acres, and they donated it to the city with the idea of putting a park there. But right now, the city's not in position to put in a park, and if the people really want a park, and it doesn't have to be something big to start with, but hopefully in the future, maybe we can do that. So using the land, is Mrs. Coker here?
No, she's not.
She's not here? I think she's, I guess, wanting to graze that land or cut and bale hay off of it, but there's no fence on part of it. So she'd have to put up quite a bit of fence in order to graze it.
Can shed a little bit of light.
Okay,
She's wanting to allow grazing because, of course, her cows continue to get out of her fence and get on that 5 acres behind her. So she's looking for a place that she can put her cattle to graze. And like you said, I don't believe there's fences there. So, and then you're right across from all the houses on Anna Hobbs. So if the cows get out there like they do over on Hudson, you got cows in people's front
Yes.
yards.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna say that much about it. I do know that that's what she wants.
okay. Yes.
Is that also the land that, the Vesquez family was using too?
Well, 44 acres would include that. I think there's a little 5 acres that is fenced or was fenced or something. I don't really know. But I assume it's the whole 44 acres that she's asking
Yeah.
about.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes,
may I speak, please? This is Sonia.
yes.
I don't know if Chief Dorsey is in the council room or not,
He is.
but Chief Dorsey and I spoke about this property, and Chief Dorsey told me that he had correspondence with Judge Madison, and Judge Madison was saying, because there's open investigations pending, that nobody should be allowed to use this property.
Okay.
That's right. Nobody.
Yes, I think I recall that. Yeah, okay.
That's why I brought it up.
Okay, so right now, Judge Madison, our city court judge, says right now, since there's some kind of a litigation going on, whatever, it's best not to let anybody use it. Yes,
I'm just gonna throw this out there, that property that was given to the city over there, probably gonna need a survey on it. Because when we bought the property across the creek, y'all remember, the company that did the survey on that property or the solar farm was completely inaccurate. And not that my guy's better or anything, but he found all the markers that were put there in 1903 and 1920 that those guys could not find. They were 2 or 3 feet down, found them with a metal detector. But the way he originally found where those correct markers were, is he went way up on that farm on Hudson or wherever it is. That's where he started. And that's the one thing that survey guy said to me. He says, the rest of that, he says, that's all messed up back there. He had to start completely fresh, and that's why I had to do the land swap with the city, because that's way
I remember
off.
that.
I don't think any of that's accurate up there. So,
What was his name? Was it
it's in
Tibbet?
those paperwork, in that paperwork, Randy, Ricky.
Was it Tibbet?
Tibbet, yes.
Yeah.
And he had to start up there on Hudson, and, I mean, it was off 20 feet, 30 feet, and these markers, I'm not kidding, he dug down 2 or 3 feet with postal diggers and found them with metal detectors. They were there, but they couldn't find them, and they just put here and put there, and it's off.
The reason he had to go to Hudson, I got some original old land grants and things where my family had some up there. So that's a good place he could start with, it's easy to find.
Yes, sir.
And a good point to measure the rest of the city, so.
That's what he said.
I saved it. I got stuff, I got the papers. But yes, that's all.
I thought we already,
Yes,
Chief
Mr.
I thought
Ricky.
we already did this one time.
We talked about it, I think, but it never was settled. But
Okay.
it's back on here. Yes, Chief?
Yes, sir. Tanya asked me to speak, I was just waiting
Oh, okay.
till an appropriate time. Just in the best interest of the city and just to prevent any other problems and nothing against Ms. Coker at all, I just think it's best that, that we keep everybody off of it and that, it's our responsibility to keep that as city property and that the city can deem, whatever they want to use that property for. But I just think allowing other people to use that property is going to lead to other problems down the road. So I think we can just nix all that right now and just keep everybody from accessing that property, just keep it as city-owned property and just let the city maintain it or whatever they see fit. But I just think that we're just going to open the door to other problems.
Yes, sir.
So I just think it's best that no one else has access to it right now.
I agree. So we don't need a motion on that, do we?
If we don't make a motion, it will just die, so.
Mr. Mayor, I'd say we do act on it because
Okay, go
this
ahead.
is the second time
Yeah.
that she's
Okay.
just gonna keep asking.
Yeah.
True.
So I think we need to say what we're gonna say about it.
All right, go, you wanna make a motion?
I make a motion that we deny Ms. Coker's request to use this vacant property.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Are you seconding?
Yes, I do.
Motion made and seconded to deny, Mrs. Dorothy Coker from using, city property. All in favor? 5 yeas and no nays. Let's see, item number 10, this is on the tax. Did I tell everybody about these public hearings not being
Yeah,
held
we
tonight?
can't do no.
You can't talk.
Do that.
Yeah, we're gonna have
I can tell,
Oh, no, you can, yes,
Okay,
I didn't,
I'm not gonna talk about them.
14.
Mr.
Okay, on the front page, I think I might have skipped this, I guess people are wondering why, but, tonight, there was supposed to be a public hearing, actually 5 public hearings, 1, 2, 3, 4. There was supposed to have been 5 public hearings on various things, about rezoning, general fund budget, water fund budget, tax rate. And the reason we can't have these hearings tonight is because you have to put in the paper, a notice in the paper 10 days prior to having a public hearing. The city staff sent in to the Waco Tribune to publish this 10 days, and they did not get around to publishing it for several days, and therefore, by law, we cannot have these public hearings tonight, and that's the reason we're skipping them. And, yes,
Okay, mine was in the paper prior to that, but, I'm sorry.
that's number 10.
Yeah, number 11.
Wait a minute, 11.
I was gonna try to get my property over there rezoned, but after going in and checking on chapter 14, section 7, under 7-500, I don't have to get it rezoned. It can, and it's a strange thing, what that is under. The property is under the C. And under the C, it says public, anything with schooling, teaching, right? Funeral homes or crematories and things like that can be put on that property. But we have to get a permit. And so that's gonna have to come at a different date. So that's why this was canceled. I know there's people there on that street, and I wanted to bring it up, you know, to let y'all know why nothing's been done tonight. Because it can't be rezoned because it's already zoned for that. So,
A conditional permit.
Well,
yeah, I'd
have to
have to
be-
get so I'll have to get a new
Yeah,
thing for additional, for a permit.
yeah, the next
Well,
agenda,
well,
next
well,
meeting.
Oh, yes, sir, there'll be another
Yeah.
hearing to before, yeah, I mean, we can't do anything to that property, even if I decide to put many, tiny homes on it, you know. Only thing I can't put on it is a trailer house. And, we still have to get approved, you know, still have to have, conditionals, stuff, you know, so whether I build a house or do that, so.
It's your property, don't get me wrong.
No, and I understand, you know, and people have concerns, and I understand that.
All right, thank you.
But it'll be brought up later, you know, so we can discuss it and all that. I just want to let you know, it's not the rezoning, we're not gonna be doing that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, item number 10, concerns the, tax rate. We can't, discuss that or talk about it because we have to have a public hearing before. So we'll skip number 10 and 11 and 12 and 13. We can't discuss or take any action on any of that until after you have the public hearing.
We have a hand up.
Oh, a hand up? Oh, okay.
I just have a question for Ms. Owens.
Yes,
or
ma'am.
The whole council as a whole.
Oh.
If a conditional permit is issued or allowed, whatever the terminology is, and say for some reason that business were to default, does that conditional permit, is that automatically revoked? Or will that conditional permit stay on that property?
No. If it doesn't work out or you change, then.
I could always change it to something
Yeah,
different.
you'd have to
I'd have
change.
to come
Yeah,
back to the council.
It's
to-
conditional.
Yeah.
You can use it on certain conditions.
Yes,
But that first permit
It would be gone.
Yeah,
Okay.
She'd have to get another one to do something different.
Okay.
yes.
okay,
Are we
thank
sure
you.
about that?
Just
Pam?
Well, I haven't read it completely, and that's what I was doing today. It did say something about if that should happen, I think the council has the right to come in and cancel.
Right.
Yes.
Or whatever they do with the permit, but I will make sure and read it some more and find out exactly how before we take steps even to apply, before we apply for the permit.
Okay, I didn't see that. Now, what I did see is council does have a right to come in and revoke that
Yeah.
under, it was 3 certain conditions. But now, as far as what we're talking about here, I didn't see that in there. That doesn't mean it's not.
Like I said, I haven't had time to really go through all of it real good and, soak it all in to see exactly what all needs to be done. But I will get on that and get it done, so I can tell Ms. Owens what she needs to do, and then let y'all know what needs, what's gonna take place if something happens that the business did not make it, and what the council would need to do then.
Right, and if that conditional permit stays with
the property. I mean, that's one of the questions that will need to be answered.
Yes.
Okay, I will find that out.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, item 14, consent agenda. A and B under there, discuss and possibly approve the minutes from the August 12th, 2021 meeting, and also the minutes from August 19th, 2021 for a special call meeting.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I've reviewed both of them, and, I'll make a motion that we accept approve the minutes from the August 12th, 2021 regular call meeting and the minutes from the August 19th, 2021 special call meeting.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded to approve item A and B on 14. All in favor? Unanimous? No nays? Thank you. Item 15, council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on approving the financial report for July of 2021.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
if no council has a question, I've reviewed them in great detail, and as far as I can see, they're in order, and I would therefore make a motion to approve the financial reports for July 2021.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the financial report for July 2021. All in favor? 5 yeas. Item 16, council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on approving accounts payable for the general fund and the water fund. This would be for July 2021. Accounts payable.
I'll make a motion to approve the accounts payable for the general fund and the water fund.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the
This is July. Yeah.
accounts payable for the general fund and the water fund for July 2021. All in favor? 5 yeas, no nays. Item 17 was moved to the top. So the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items were put on here by the mayor or the council members. I put number 18, and the rest of them were all put on here, I believe, by Mr. Wiggins. Is that correct?
No, sir.
Okay,
The 19, 20, and 21 was mine.
okay, all but the 22, okay. All right, item 18, council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action to seek a new city attorney. I put this on here because our city attorney, I need to put this as nicely as possible. He made arrangements, let's say, with one single council member to do something. And they, of course, went back and forth, and he spent time on discovery, I believe that's the word they use. And there's no telling how many hours he spent on that, and coming to the meetings. And of course, he's gonna bill the city, what is it now, $200 an hour for that? And I'm gonna estimate that the cost's gonna be probably $3,000. I'm just estimating it. But the law, I think, says that one council person has no authority to spend any city money alone. Now, that attorney made arrangements with one of our council members, and this is what it's gonna cost the city, $3,000. That, I don't know about y'all, but that's, some of that is my tax money. I don't like one person being able to do that. So, and if he talked or colluded, whatever you want to use the words, I mean, they went behind closed doors and made arrangements and interrupted the meeting. No one else was aware of any of that. I know these two weren't. assuming no one else was aware of it.
Okay.
I'm still talking.
Yeah, I understand. I just hold my
Okay.
hand up where you recommend.
And this one person, I'm not trying to degrade him or anything, I'm just saying this is not right. And our city attorney is supposed to deal with the council, and he said this himself, I think in one of the meetings. He deals with the council through the city administrator and/or the mayor. And he does not and will not deal with individuals. And that is unlawful anyhow. So I'm saying, I was the one that helped select him because I was familiar with the law firm that he is employed with. I knew Mr. Hilton Howell 35, 40 years ago and dealt with him some. He was a great man. And also Mr. Perkle, in his resume that he submitted to us, he is supposed to be, I guess you'd say, a specialist in municipal law. Quite frankly, I have not been pleased with his advice as a city attorney. Now, that's my opinion, and if y'all want to take action, we do not have to fire him because he is not an employee of the city. He was hired, is on call as needed, and he charges by the hour. If you call and talk to him, ask him a question, he charges you for that. I don't know if he breaks it down into half hours or quarter hours, but if you just call and talk, say, hello, how are you, and that's all I wanted, goodbye, he charges you either for 15 minutes or 30 minutes. I'm not sure how it's broken down. But I'm saying that since he did that I am not satisfied with him being our city attorney no longer. And I think y'all, tonight if y'all want to make a motion to seek new city attorney, you can. If you don't, let it die. So it's up to y'all. That's what I've got to say, and the reason I put this on here, Mr. Wiggins.
Okay, well, the person, first off, as you know, the city attorney works for the mayor and the city council.
Yes, the
And
city
and
council.
each city councilman is elected as the mayor is.
Yes,
So
but
the
the only
attorney,
time
attorney works,
you're not telling what the way it is. The
Mr.
only
Mayor,
time
you're
that you
interrupting
have
me.
any authority to speak for the city or spend any money or obligate the city in any way is when y'all are sitting right up here in a public meeting as a body, you're the city council. But when you
I
leave here-
disagree with you.
When you, check the law, you read the law, read it.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying I disagree with you because.
Okay. If you disagree, then vote the way you
I've
want.
checked with two different attorneys, and that's incorrect.
Normal
However,
procedure, they don't do that. And he said.
however, sir, that, each council member, and to go back some years, we could go back in, sometime in 2019, when I got on the council back in November of 2019, there were some things, emails and stuff that I was involved in with legal counsel, and it's been okay. Everything's been okay. And all of a sudden now, because I asked Mr. Perkle I motioned him to come over here. I had a question for him, and he stepped behind closed doors, and the question I had for him was I was okay with calling a special meeting for this, and under the agenda that we had. That was the question I asked, and he looked and he said yes. Now that was all, and I don't think that's out of line. I mean, if, like I said, any council member has a right, if they see that they want to call about and ask him about something illegal, or whether it's legal or not, I believe the council has that right. Now, does the council, keep in mind that I think there's within reason. I mean, you
not gonna call them each and every day and talk a long time, and he charges $185 an hour is what they charge. And they don't charge, they do break it down. If you talk 15 minutes, they break it down into that. So that's my take on it, and I'll stand by that.
You got a motion on the floor, Mayor.
Okay, Ms.
Okay, and I'm gonna try to get each thing that's in my head. The only one that is their title 365 days a year is the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
You are a citizen 365 days a year unless there is a quorum, 3 or 5. Other than that, you are not a councilman. You are a citizen. When it comes to the attorney represents the city, the council. And so he can't represent one. He even said that to me sitting in that chair. When you left a council meeting, which was not, you could have asked that question aloud. You could have raised your hand and asked that question aloud. That was,
Okay.
you left, the mayor had a order, the meeting going. He did not excuse you to leave and go ask the question.
I don't disagree.
Am I correct, Mayor? You did
Yes.
not excuse him to go ask the
No,
question.
I did not.
So, when I got up and spoke as a citizen, he also told me, I do not represent anyone here. I represent the city. But because I was talking, I did have the right to finish what I was saying, just like right now I have the floor. And so he did say, yes, that is true. That is law, until I was either finished or I caused a ruckus, and the mayor said, call of order, and I'd either sat down or this gentleman here would have escorted me out. Now, that's the way procedures go in a council meeting. So I could have been escorted out, but I had the right to speak. But that attorney works for the council. Now, on the subject of not knowing municipal law, and I've had this conversation with the council, I've had conversation with the mayor, I've had conversation with the administrator, that there are times when Kayla was here subbing, she knew the answers, but Mr. Perkle has not known municipal law. And I have looked it up on a dime and said, this is what municipal law. I keep the TML handbook on my phone. And he doesn't know the answers. And so I have to just put my 2 cents in about that attorney.
Okay, but there again, Mavis, does he always know answers when you ask him at the time? No, you're right. No, he doesn't. But that wasn't, my point was that the council should have a right to contact him and ask him.
No, sir. You are paid, they pay, the city pays when you come on as a councilman.
Yeah.
1, you have to take training. Number 2, they pay for you to have a membership to TML.
Yes, I understand.
And I know this from
And you know
many
what
years.
TML does?
No, they talk to me, but they tell me you're not a member.
No, I mean TML every time. I've talked to TML, I've emailed them every time. Whether you talk to them or you email them, they're always going to tell you, talk to your city attorney. Verify this when you're a city. They're always going to
But
say
it
that.
has to be as a whole.
Well, I mean, I understand, but I'm just telling you this. I've had 2 different attorneys, municipal attorneys, tell me this, that yes, it's okay. So I'm gonna go with the attorney's opinion. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Owen.
On what Miss Mavis was saying, when I first ran 4 or 5 years ago for city council and was elected, I was told by the city administrator and the attorney that we had at that time, you are a city council member when you are at a city council meeting. When you leave, you have authority. When you leave those doors, after you hit that banner and you dismiss us, when we walk out, we are not city council members anymore. We have no more city council authority. You know, and that's what I've always been told, and that's what TML says the same thing, and that's what she was saying is what I've always been told. That when I leave here, I have no more authority as a city councilman.
That is true, that is why when I send an email, and does not constitute a quorum, when I include the mayor and all 5 council, because if I send Linda an email and I say, okay, this is going on, and I want this fixed, because I made a complaint, it didn't get done. She's just a person, she's a council, she can hear me, but if all council don't know, and y'all don't all get your heads together and make a decision, you are not a council unless you are all together. Yes, 3 makes a quorum, but you've got to have a council as a group to be a council.
Yes.
I think spending it up to $3,000 would certainly require quorum. Yes, Ms. Wiggins.
In the past, I know that it's been discussed numerous times.
Can't hear you.
And I know in the past that it's been mentioned, whether it be $185 or $200 an hour, that's immaterial. The question is, would it benefit the city to consider putting an attorney on retainer
He didn't want to, he wouldn't do that.
versus the per hour?
He did not want to do that, and he refused to do it. That's the reason it's by the hour. He did not want a retainer, did not want to be an employee, just as needed basis. And that's the way they're doing nowadays. They don't want to be hired as, you know.
So, I guess what I'm hearing you say is that other attorneys would do the same thing.
Yes.
They would bill per hour.
Yes.
Or per 15 minutes or whatever.
Yes, mhm. Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Now listen, but you know, that may be fact and basis when we leave out here, we're like another citizen. That's the way I like it, but that ain't reality. That's just not. So if that's gonna be fair play, then don't nobody need to talk to me on the street about a problem that the citizen have represent the city. I got it, I understand it,
That's right.
but, Dr. Mayor and these other people on the council, Ms. Owens, Mr. Griffin, Mr. Fowler, and Mr. Wiggins, gave people the word, and they're working hard for them, so I don't have a problem talking to nobody. That's what you elected me for. But you can't have it both ways.
Yeah. Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I'm finished.
Yes, you can. Y'all were voted in, elected by the people to represent us. But, and we can stop you on the street, we can tell you, there's a water leak out at Box Ranch, or this is going on, and can you check on it? But you can't make any decision, and unless you're making a decision, or you have a city issue, that attorney can only represent you when you are a councilman in a council.
Ms. Mavis, can I respond?
Yes, sir. You were next. Yes.
I'll just add to what Mavis said, that yes, as citizens, when you're out on the street, we do see you as city council, our representatives, just as a citizen. But the law says that you have to be accountable to one another, you have to be accountable to us, and you need to have ethics and integrity as you do your work.
First.
That's what the law says.
First.
And so, that's what basically this is about, is we want you as a council to operate with integrity and accountability to one another. And if the lawyer you've got is not doing that,
The council
we
didn't,
need another one.
the council,
We need another one that will say, I'm sorry, this does not line up with the law, I can't be doing this.
yeah.
You have to have at least a quorum.
A the council didn't ask this attorney to do anything. So who's gonna get the bill?
Right, it's all about integrity and
Yeah.
ethics.
Yeah.
And the right to doing the right things for the citizens.
Have another hand up out
Oh.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
Well, I just wanted to comment on the, what seemed to be the character of the lawyer. It was my first time to be here last week, and I sat right here on the floor next to him, and it just appeared that he certainly was not sharp in the law. He seemed to really squabble, around, and I even asked a couple of people, who's that guy, he didn't seem to know the law. If he's a municipal court lawyer, then he needs to know right away and be sharp about it and not, so I'm just.
I agree with you. Yes, I do. All right.
Yes, sir. On these items, 18, let's see, yeah, your item that we're talking about now, and 19 and 20 and 21, I think they're all related. And as one council member, I feel like I would like to have legal input on this.
Okay.
And I don't want to be listening to someone saying this is the law, and someone, I mean, I would like to propose that maybe we agree on someone who we all would, I guess, be comfortable with. And, that could be at our next meeting and, go through these things with us, with legal advice. I don't want to guess what the law says. I want to know what the law says.
Me too.
And many people are much well versed on it than I am. So, I mean, I'm just not comfortable even trying to make decisions on these things or even discuss them without legal advice. Now, on the new, to take action on to seek a new city attorney, I mean, I like to try to go about things fairly. I would feel better if we had Mr. Perkle here and we visited with him about it. And if we can't do it in in executive session, we do it in an open session. And we just ask him questions about these things. And, I don't know if Mr. Perkle, he may, he may be tired of us, he may
It would be nice if he would just resign.
Yeah, but I would rather have him here so we could all get his response to some of these things. So,
Did you put in a motion, sir?
yeah.
Do that 18, 19, and 20.
Mayor,
Yes. Sonia? Yes.
this is Sonia. Yes, I just wanted to say one thing, and I'm not opposed to either way to cancel votes, but I want to say that we had an issue probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Heather in court had an issue, and it was regarding the gun laws and the gun signs.
Yes.
And she contacted the attorney, and our city attorney told Heather she had to contact PML to get the answer.
I can testify at the last meeting, he didn't know the answer to that question about the gun.
Right, and he told Heather she had to contact PML, but then he did turn around and charge us for his advice for us to call PML. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Don't like him,
Yeah.
don't like him
All
now.
right. Thank you, Sonia. I appreciate that.
Mark's got the best solution for it, I'm
So what, did you make a motion or gonna make a motion or what?
Yeah, well, I guess it'd be twofold that if we counsel with Mr. Perkle about these issues and we come to the conclusion between us that we need to go separate ways, then I would say then we need someone to help us deal with these other items.
We'd
some,
have to get another attorney.
yeah, I don't wanna be, in all due respect to everybody, I don't wanna be sitting up here 5 minutes without a city attorney in place. So,
Well, of course, Mr. Perkle is not our only attorney with this firm. We also have Stephanie Schwab.
well, we can maybe get Stephanie,
Yeah.
to help us, and I mean, but I just think it's.
And he's just a hired hand at this law firm. He's not
Yeah.
a big high-powered lawyer.
Yeah, so I would make a motion that we, I guess on one hand, that we ask Mr. Perkle to visit with us, we put it on the agenda, and I mean, if we have to do it in open, I guess that's, the way we have
Well,
to do
he's
it.
not an employee, and it's not really,
Personnel,
yeah.
right,
so
right, so I'd go
I'd
either
say
way with
open
it.
with that, but, you
Yeah.
know. Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
That's okay, so I would propose that
So
we,
you're not talking about item 22, though?
no, I'm not, I'm trying, so,
Okay, so 19 and 20 and 21?
So no, not 21,
Um,
18, 19, and 20, right?
Let me finish, please.
Okay.
Don't interrupt me. 19, 20, and 21 was put on here by Mr. Wiggins. Mr. Wiggins, is it all right with you to proceed with these three,
Yeah, with 19 and 20,
but not 21?
yeah, 21 is about ordinances.
So you're talking about 18, 19, and 20,
You're,
Mr.
yes,
Fowler?
I'm saying we table them, and that first step we take is to interview Mr. Perkle about these concerns and see if we can come together, or if we conclude that we need to part ways.
Yes.
So,
Okay, but now he's gonna be charging us,
just for clarification,
yes.
are you saying that table this until the next meeting and ask Mr. Perkle to be here? Is that what you're saying?
yes.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm saying, and that's our first step through this. And then after that, then we know if we have to have another attorney to help us through these other two items. So I'm proposing that we tackle 18 at our next meeting
And,
with Mr. Perkle here.
and 19 and 20?
And then we table 19 and 20 until we
Okay,
know the outcome of that.
okay.
It's all one motion.
So you're wanting the council to ask Mr. Perkle to come so that he can charge us legally?
Well, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I don't like paying attorneys any more than anybody else
Yes.
does. But my guiding light is, are we doing things the right way? I mean, that's it.
That's right.
So, I
I'm
mean,
just saying,
I hate
I'm making
paying,
it clear,
I hope that that's something that we feel
Yeah.
good about.
I'm making it clear that the council is going to
Yeah.
ask him to come, not
Yeah,
one individual. You're
yeah.
not the individual, you're not going to ask him.
Right.
The council is, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that all in the form of a motion?
Yes, that's for item 18. Motion is made, repeat that.
To move, to table this item 18 until our next meeting.
Okay.
Our
I
next,
second that.
All right,
Our next-
motion made and seconded to table
Yes,
item
that was
18.
discussed.
And then,
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if
She
you all represent us, and it's been obviously stated by several members that they don't have a lot of faith in Mr. Perkel. Okay? And if he is not knowledgeable, it will take him much longer, charging much more hourly rate to try to help solve these questions and these problems. To me, it would be better to ask one of the other firm members to come out and do this, and hopefully they would be more knowledgeable and be able to answer the questions more quickly and not cost the city as much money.
what about Stephanie? She doesn't, I don't believe Stephanie charges as much as Neil.
She is $10 an hour cheaper than Perkle. When
Okay.
it started, Perkle was $190 and Stephanie would be $180. But then somebody mentioned or said something the other day, he's charging us $250. So I'm gonna look into that and see exactly what he's charging. And I'm gonna see how much he's gonna charge us for this last little.
Well, I've signed some checks, and some of the
Other council member has too, and it's, the ones I've signed, it's been 185 an hour.
Well,
Now, our water attorney is totally
Yeah,
different.
he's a lot
Yeah.
more.
Mr. Mayor, she's still got a question.
Okay, good.
One other question, does it have to be someone in that firm?
No.
I mean, it needs to be someone who is very familiar with
What about Mr. Fact? Municipal
this
law.
policy, these policies.
That's the reason I asked him for a new attorney, so we could, you know, but we're not getting it tonight. Yes, maybe.
Well, and again, if I was getting fired, you would not call me in and ask me, do I think I need to be fired?
Yeah.
Or do I not know my job,
Yeah.
this, and this? It's very apparent that he doesn't know the answer. You have all been on the council for 9 months at least. And in 9 months, this attorney, and I've known him now for over 2 years, is not versed in municipal law. If a supply pastor is not doing a church, say filling in for Miss Joyce, I call her Miss Bethany, not doing the job, they're not gonna call me back to be that supply pastor anymore. They're gonna call somebody that can do the job. And so you don't call the attorney to give you advice for the decision of letting him go. He is not an employee. He is a service. If the plumber's not fixing the toilet right, you don't ask him, you don't call him back, and you get another plumber. You ask the administrator to please go out and do some research on some other attorneys, which I have talked to her about a couple, that are very good, very versed in Temple and Georgetown. We can get a better attorney for this city that would represent y'all and make y'all better councilmen. Because they're gonna give you the right answers. So then it's gonna make you guys look better, not look, be better, because you're gonna get right answers. And then you're gonna do us as citizens a better job. But to sit up here and, oh, I don't know if we better, or we better get some counsel, y'all gotta make some decisions here.
Okay, thank you.
I'll add my 2 cents. Again, getting back to doing things properly with integrity and the right kind of heart, treating people with respect, even people we don't like. At least a letter needs, I feel you could send him a letter explaining why, just like was asked in the case of Mrs. Bishop, that they at least don't just get ghosted or just get marked through.
Yeah.
Okay, we erase you now, that, the council send a letter or something like that explaining your position and then be done with it. You know, get another person in that firm or get another lawyer. That way you're treating people with respect, even though you're not happy with them.
Yes, of course.
You know, it's just the right thing to do.
I thought we talked about asking Stephanie and not Neil. Then we talked about asking Stephanie to
just
come
talked
instead
about
of
it, yes,
Neil.
Yeah.
Finish it.
Well,
Finish it.
She's still with the same firm, but for
Yeah.
right now, we could
Well,
use her.
she might be more versed in
Yeah.
municipal law than
And
Neil.
that would be up to the council. Y'all
Yeah.
are the ones that decide, they're not voted in by the people.
Yeah.
Y'all decide that, that's.
Well, we used to have Kayla Landeros, and she used to work for Lehman House, Smith and Lee, and she was pretty well, I thought, pretty well versed in the law. Didn't necessarily agree with
Yeah.
everything she said, but
Yeah.
the law was the law.
Yeah.
Now, then she left, and then Neil started coming, but there is this Stephanie lady, so maybe we need to reach out to her, and maybe she's more versed in it than Neil.
Okay.
Well, we got a motion on the floor.
Yeah, we got a motion
Yeah.
to cancel, to table item 18. And was there a second?
Yes.
Yes, Cecil.
Cecil, you seconded? All right, all in favor of tabling item 18?
Well, James had to step out.
Well, we can vote without him.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I made the motion, so I'll vote for it to table it, yeah.
To table it?
Yes.
Table it. 4, that's plenty to table it, okay. And then, item 19.
Oh, Mayor, this lady, she's trying real hard. to
Oh,
say
I'm
something.
sorry, yeah.
Again, I'm new here. I don't understand that. If so many of us were against that, why, how can you do that?
The council decides, I'm just
I
here.
understand that.
I don't have a
How can you
vote.
consciously do that? I mean,
Yeah.
right is right and wrong is wrong. And if we're all saying, he's not the right lawyer, you're wasting
Yeah.
money again,
This,
that Jason's gonna have to pay for. I don't understand how y'all can do that.
Yeah.
With the right conscience. How can you sleep at night thinking that?
yeah, I'll
And
take,
that's a small
Yeah.
issue, really. I mean, there's a lot bigger issues at hand, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how you can just completely ignore the city that's
yeah,
speaking out against this lawyer.
yeah.
Well,
Here
what-
here lately, we've spent thousands of dollars on
I know,
attorney
so
fees.
that'd be more.
It's silly. Yes,
What I voted for was tabling 18, not having Mr. Purple come in for us to talk to him. I voted on tabling
Yeah.
it
Okay.
until we can get him a letter and, but my vote, I voted on the motion of tabling 18, not to bring Mr. Purple back or for
Maybe I
anything.
misunderstood.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
it's not that I dislike that man. I mean, he's all right, he could use a haircut, in my opinion. But he's all right, but he just doesn't, seem to have the answers. And then when he does stuff, I don't want to have any dealings with him.
Mayor Payne,
Okay. So, Pam,
Y'all tabling 18, 19, and 20?
just 18.
Just 18.
Just 18.
18?
Mhm. And it's carried by 4 votes. Okay. So now we come to Mr. Wiggins, number 19. What are you gonna do with this one?
But I think 19 and 20,
Should be
we
tabled
need,
with
we
18.
need to, table those until we have legal advice, here to answer those questions.
I agree.
Okay, so you wanna make?
I'll make a motion that would table item number 19 and 20 until such time that we have legal counsel
I'll second.
here at the meeting in order to discuss those items.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Motion made and seconded, to table number 19 and 20 until we can have legal counsel here at the council meeting. Is there any discussion on it? All in favor? 5 yeas to table 19 and 20, Pam. Okay, 21, council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on why our ordinances are not updated. We talked about this in the workshop, and I think we got a remedy for that. Did you want to touch on that? You put that on there, didn't you?
No, we discussed it in the workshops, and there was there was a lot of people here that wasn't,
And that was only me in the workshop.
yes, maybe she,
You only kinda like
you
it.
talked horns off Billy Goat.
Okay, okay.
And I think he's on the
There's
phone.
libraries in
Decided
the
on what
state
y'all
of
wanna do
Texas
on 18.
that handles.
If y'all excuse me just for 1 minute, I'll be back.
But you heard me.
Since I'm absent, I guess
There's
I'll
only
already
2
reported
libraries in
that.
the state of Texas that handle ordinances for cities that don't want to handle their own ordinances. The library, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but the library that we're using, Franklin, is costing our city money. We chose in Rogers to go to Google Docs, and we scanned them all in, and we're talking from the 1800s. Had books this tall. We scanned them in, put them in file, put them in a big thing first, and then sorted them, and we put animal and nuisance in a file, and we put police any ordinances that had to do with police involved, elections in it. So we made these folders. And then we not only had them in Google Docs, but we put that link on our website. So anybody could go out there and hit ordinances and then go down and say, well, I don't know what's the election. And they found these ordinances. If I wanted to send Joyce an ordinance to back up something I said, I could either send her a copy or I could just send the link. And with that link, now her email is registered with the docs. She can go out there and look at any ordinance she wants. She can't change them. But anyway, that's better for the city when they manage their own ordinances. But Sonia has been working hard at trying to get them updated. Finally got them all in. I called in January, asked Franklin, and they told me, well, we only update every so often. Well, then in April I called because she had a deadline to get them all done. And she said, Mavis, I've got them all, but I don't know why they're not updated. So I called Franklin. And again, they gave me this, there's only 2 libraries and so forth. So I called Sonia and I talked to her about Google Docs. Let's do our own program on the server, do our own ordinances so the citizens can go out to the website and they can find the documents. And they can look at our ordinances. And I'll be glad to volunteer with that. So when she called the other day and asked Franklin, they gave her, we only update once a year. So yeah, you've got them all to us, but it's gonna be 2022 before we update. So now here we are, we're having to put off a man that was gonna come in and help us with some stuff till 2022. We can start this process and get most of them out there and really work hard at it and get us a system done. Number 2, when Franklin takes our ordinances that Sonia sends, they don't put them verbatim like they wrote them and the mayor signed them. They go in there, they've already got a format, and they just kind of legal jargon and hit the highlights. So now you're out there trying to find, well, I don't see that in the ordinance, say it that way that, you know, and yet I've got a hard copy and I'm going, no, this is what we voted on. So I think the consensus was to quit paying that high money to Franklin and let's get something in our own city and take care of our own ordinances, our own documents.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, may I speak?
Yes, go ahead, Tanya.
This is Tanya, your city administrator. I just want to jump on board with what David said. I would love to propose to the city council that Mavis and I work together. Mavis is volunteering to do the scanning and to get those docs uploaded. I would like to ask council to please consider this. It'll save the city money, and I think in the long run, it'll make life easier for the staff and the citizens of Bruceville-Eddy, because you will be able to go and see the actual ordinance, and you won't have to read through the legal stuff. Because if you go to that website and you look at what Franklin inputs in there, it is so hard to comprehend sometimes. I catch myself having to read it 3 or 4 times before I really get the gist of it. So I think it would be a great idea. So I'd like to ask council to consider that.
All right, thank you. Right now, I think we have this Franklin or what it is. I don't know if we have a contract or anything with them, so we might have to break that or something. I think we just pay them so much a year or something. So, how would somebody like to make a motion on this 21?
I guess that I'd make a motion that we review the Franklin contract. The solution that's been put up here tonight sounds great. Right now, people can go to our website and they can access our ordinances. I assume we'd have that same capability through our website with Google Docs for people to connect and look up our ordinances.
We would have better. Right now, when I go out to Franklin, it's on our website. Some of the ordinances, and I'm gonna use the animal ordinance that was done, and then a nuisance ordinance that was recently updated. You go out here and it says animal ordinance, last updated, 2018 or 2016. Okay. No, we need to know what was done the last, how many years is that? 4, 5 years? We need the
Yeah,
updated
yeah.
ordinance.
As I say, you've got me convinced. I just want to make
So
sure.
this way, when you pass it, the mayor signs it, and within a week, it can be scanned and out on that website.
That sounds good to me.
Okay. Well, what do you,
I
speak?
think it's a wonderful idea, what she's
Yeah,
doing.
sure is.
You know, for free, and she's got great knowledge, believe me, she just let me talk too much sometimes, but, and she's been willing to do this a long time. Now, I'm like Mr. Farrell, we need to see if we got a contract with them, and I don't think we do, but I can
Yeah.
testify personally, I know of several ordinances, and one of them is one that's what's pretty recent, and there ain't none of them nowhere to be found. Now, how you gonna convince people that they're in practice, in law, and nobody's seen it? Now, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm about ready to go home, folks. I'm pretty sick. But anyhow,
Well,
And
if
to
you-
add to
that's
that,
okay.
why
I'm not-
should we have to charge the citizen when I wanted to see the animal ordinance?
Amen.
Come up here and pay the pages for it. Okay, when I could've went out on the website and printed it on my own printer or read the.
Mr. Fowler's got a great idea, and I'd like to let him finish if he can.
well, the reason I mentioned the contract, I mean,
That's a great idea.
in case we have some kind of arrangement with them, we'll need to
Yeah.
break that in
Amen.
order to do this.
Amen.
So, I'd like for the motion to kind
What,
of, in case it does, we're gonna have to come back and then do it again. We can cover it tonight, you know.
so what was your suggestion?
Okay, you can, if you got a contract with Franklin, you can continue that contract if you have to, but like I told Sonia over a year ago, let's start getting our own program started, starting with the newest ordinances, going backwards, because the back ones are out of Franklin, and let's get this built, and then when you can stop your contract with Franklin, you just don't redo it.
That's perfect.
That's,
So the motion then that Ms. Bishop proposed, and suggested would be that, she and Mavis work together, this is my motion, to begin transferring our ordinances from Franklin to Google Docs, but that we do investigate any long-term liability we may have with Franklin. Make certain that's not there.
I'll second it.
All right, motion made and seconded. Pam, did you get that motion?
It's recorded.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Okay, 5 yeas?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Last item 22, council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on firearm carry notices at City Hall. This is about what we had on the door and it's
Yeah,
no
I
longer on
think
the
he's still
door.
on the phone.
Who put this on?
No,
Yeah,
Mr. Fowler.
yeah, I put it on there.
Oh, you put it on there.
Oh,
I'm
you put it
sorry.
on
I thought,
Right, right, I had emailed you about the last letter we received,
Yeah.
from this gentleman who's, in a gun rights activist group, and, Sonia, I'm gonna need your input on this, if you're still with us there, but, I would like to hear just a recap of what the sequence of events were, and then what actions we took. I don't want to go back into the details of the
no.
meeting you had, but basically he was, his problem was that the firearm sign, no firearms allowed, was on the front door of City Hall. And is that correct? Is that his main concern?
That's
Right, so
that's where I saw
what it was we had court that day. It was a Thursday, and we had court that morning. And he was not aware that we had court, and we had not had time to take the sign down yet. So when he showed up, the sign was still up, and he was not happy. But I explained that, we had court, and when according to the section, we can't put the sign there. Well, he was still a little bit, not happy, I guess. And so we started looking into the laws. We contacted PNL, found out that we indeed should not be putting those signs on the outside of the door. They should only be on the porch door. So we will no longer be putting the signs out. And then also Judge Madison made an amendment to his order because the judge had ordered those signs to be up and all that jazz. But when this came about, Judge made an amendment to his order, and I sent a copy of the order to the gentleman that was questioning the signs, and he was good with that. Now, I don't know if everybody is aware, but come September 1, there's new legislative laws. And the new legislative law has basically taken all authority from the city to ban anyone coming in to build a gun. And I'm going to be sending out that new law as soon as they publicize it. As this publication, I will be emailing it to you all.
So right now, or let's say as of September 1st, then, this was at the end of the letter that that you copied all of us on. And this was a very concerning letter to me as far as this sentence. And it's probably true, but it still concerns me. But it says, like it or not, effective September 1st, 2021, it becomes legal for an individual who possesses a license to carry openly or concealed into a city council meeting. That really
Concerns me.
bothers me, concerns me, but it's going to be the law, it sounds like. And
Right, and that.
I don't think that'll hold up.
I'm sorry, Sonia, what was that?
That is 100% correct.
Okay.
As of September 1st, the gun laws in Texas have pretty much removed any type of governance of the city council or any type of restriction on gun holders.
Okay.
Also, new in September 1st, in the state of Texas, you no longer have to be a licensed carrier to carry your gun.
Uh-oh.
So, but there's really nothing that council will be able to do, and we will not be able to post fines.
Okay, so as far, and this is why I really wanted legal,
Opinion.
this is why I wanted our attorney here tonight. But anyway, my question is, let's say that a person who is carrying comes into, not a council meeting, but just comes into City Hall, and he wants to go back into our office area and he's carrying a gun. Do we have any ability to require or prevent someone coming into our offices where our people are here working, who is carrying? We have no rights there.
I think, wait a minute.
As of September 1st, okay.
Even in the court?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't believe that's
Yes,
right
ma'am.
for court.
As a concealed carry, I have a license, a concealed carry license as well. And I'm in agreement with the law that's coming out on September 1st, and here's why. It is constitutional, our Second Amendment, to be able to carry. And the problem is not with the guns, the problem is with the people that may be mentally incompetent in carrying the guns. The problem is not with the guns.
That's not what I'm talking
Not
about.
the point.
It's not what?
I said, I'm not talking against the law. I'm just saying what the law is and gonna become, and then I'm gonna have a motion to make regarding that.
Well, just as part of our constitution, we have the right to bear arms,
Okay.
and it's come down to that we have the right to bear it anyway.
Okay, but I'm just,
Whether we're
Okay.
concealed carry
All right.
or not.
I'm concerned, okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. Yeah,
I mean, you know,
okay.
that's-
But I'm not against the law, and I'm not gonna propose that we do anything against the law. I wanna protect our people here to the highest regard that I can. So I do have a motion that I wanna make about this, so, but go ahead.
Well, really.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
The only way to take down a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a
And that's part of my
They're
proposal.
getting fewer and far between. I mean, totally back to blue and.
Yeah.
But how can you determine who should and who shouldn't?
That are good guys.
Okay, all right, thank you. Mr. Villa?
Yeah, just to clarify what's going on with that particular law, because I have to deal with it on a daily basis, is simply this. Texas has, through the legislative system, has the constitutional carry. Simply put, it negates the fact that you have to have an LTC or license to carry what used to be a concealed carry handgun law. Then went to the LTC, license to carry, which means you could carry it openly in certain forms. There were certain places that were restricted from those carries. With the new law is the implication that the Constitution bears the weight of whether or not someone can carry or bear arms anywhere. And that's where it comes to pass through the Texas legislature that constitutional carry law be effective and that anyone can carry who is eligible to purchase a gun now. We'll still have laws in effect to prevent certain people who have committed certain crimes or have been established incompetent to carry and things of that nature. But anyone who has not or who doesn't fall under those categories has the right to carry in any open form that the state
Anywhere?
that the state allows.
Anywhere, even in the court.
Now, with the exception of federal courts specifically, because those are operated by the federal government and they have the right,
I
and the
got it.
Supreme Court has already trumped that. But in any other form such as a council, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'd be worried too.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I would be worried too.
Well,
But the key is you can make it a secure area.
That's going to be my
And
motion.
what I'm talking about is to where they have to be buzzed to get in. Okay? Now, I agree with the young lady there with regards to the right to carry arms. I have weapons of my own. But the key is you never know when that one person that is allowed and legally is able to carry a weapon, that loses it. That happens. It happens.
It's been proved
Okay.
many times, as many people did now.
Exactly. So the key is this, if you make a secure area where they're not able to carry the weapon back to that point without being buzzed in, that's how you're gonna protect yourself.
Right.
Why can you keep them carrying it back there if they can carry it anywhere they want?
Yeah.
He's got he has his hand up. I feel awful. Well, go.
Get up and go, you don't
No,
have to wait.
I wanna finish if I can.
There's Mr.
Okay.
Valera Okay, Mr. Bella.
Well,
But hell, my goal won't come
I'll
out.
be honest with you, secure or not, if someone wants to commit a crime, they're gonna commit the crime.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Whether you have a secure area, whether you don't. Places are secure, things happen, criminal things happen all the time, even in secure areas. I would highly suggest and recommend you get with a lawyer because this constitutional carry has not been tested yet. Therefore, no court cases have been, there has been no founding or findings in a court symposium in regards to this particular law because it's brand new and it's coming into effect. So I would highly suggest, just like you said, get with some legal counsel and find out if there's anything you can do
Right.
to maybe mitigate something from that.
We have a project going on right now. We're waiting on it to be completed, which is a bulletproof glass. Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I didn't ask to speak, so, okay. But we are waiting on the installation of bulletproof glass for those front windows up there. And my motion regarding this development is, and Chief is already way ahead of us on this because we were well looked after at the meeting last week, and I was sure glad they were here. But we have had situations during my time on the council where Chief was here, but he had a call come up or something and he had to leave. And so then there was no law enforcement here during our meeting. Now, I would just want to make a motion around this that with Chief's help, that we are never in a situation during the course of a meeting where we don't have an officer here with us. And so that may require that we pay some overtime or whatever is needed. But I want to make sure that we're never sitting in here without someone that can help us if such a situation ever arose. So I would just like to make a motion that we require from the police department no less than one police officer to be present at all times during every city council regular or special call meeting. And you're all, as I say, you're already way ahead of us. You're trying to do that, but let's make sure that we've got that covered where we've always got at least one guy here. That's my motion.
I second.
Okay, motion made and seconded, that we direct the police chief to have an officer or himself here at all times during the council meeting?
At least one, yes, sir.
At least one?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? 5 yeas, all in favor?
Mayor, you got someone over there?
Yeah.
It's me again. I agree with that, I think that sounds great, but in addition to that, it might be great for the council to, learn how to carry and be prepared.
Promise you,
We
it
do.
will happen if I'm sick.
I mean, that's a really, once you familiarize yourself with guns.
We'll come September
You know,
first,
you
you don't
get-
have to have it.
I don't know.
You're not afraid of them.
But she talking about just familiarizing
Yeah,
yourself.
well, come September first, you won't have to have a license to
Well,
carry.
correct, but you
Right.
could go to a school, a training school or
Right.
something with, with our
Going.
department engineer.
Okay, thank you. Mayor?
Also, if all of y'all will pull up TML, firearms, cities and firearms, it explains a lot of it. And there are some stipulations that y'all as a council can make here, as in a buzzer going through the door, and you can ask them to, if you've got the sign in the hallway, that's your office, that's your private space. So y'all can make these decisions, but go out to the book TML, cities and firearms. It's written in plain black and white.
Okay, thank you.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn, all in
You were
favor?
slow, Linda.
I know it.
Yeah, I kept waiting on her.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Well done.
Yes. Go home, go home, go on home.
I've been sick of it for a long time, so I know what you're saying. I'm going. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for coming.
Hey, I know something been on your mind.
Let me turn this off.
I feel like I have to drink some much.